question. You're off a little bit.
Document is physical, so I was thinking.
Yeah, this one's B. It's bonus.
So what's that? That was 50. Yeah. Which was first. Okay. Don't see nothing. Is there an option? Okay, there we go. That's a good one. Could be. Yesterday. We'll try that. It would be a tabletop. That's not good. Tabletop. That's pretty good. That's not. Let's do this extra one. Got to that yet, doesn't it?
Which one was that?
C. Focus on.
We'll get to that.
Leave the place at the C.
Okay. Alright, so. Boom, boom, boom. Alright.
So some of those bonus questions could pop up on the exam. You want to go over those bonus questions?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we see this one, which the following best describes why the SMS one-time password, that's the little key fob token thing that we talked about yesterday. Authentication method is more risky to implement than a TOTP. So one-time password versus time-based one-time password. The time-based one is going to have some type of expiration. Every 60 seconds, 30 seconds, TOTP expires. A one-time password is essentially, it's just what it is. It's just there. It's one-time use. Think about if I stole your gift card and you had a little key on the back, which is a one-time use, but I used it. If I intercept it, I can basically use that information. But if I intercept something that expires 30 seconds, 60 seconds later, I'm not going to be able to use it.
I see.
So C is the answer here.
So
And I have to go back.
C was the answer.
Here in a second, we'll go over the other bonus ones.
1-1.
There you go. Good job.
Good job.
You guys went on, did your homework, you know? All right, last night. That's what to expect there. All right, let's go back over these other ones.
Okay, we're close. Okay.
I think it's right at bonus was right here. An IT security team is concerned, these are gonna be on the test. Giving you guys what's on the test, so it's right here. IT security team is concerned about the confidentiality of documents left unattended in a, what is this?
That's what I mean, that's what I need to learn the definitions. That's why we.
Multifunction printer is what an MFP is.
Yeah,
Printer.
that's okay.
Which of them should a security team do to mitigate the situation? So this one's the FOIA authentication that requires the person in action before printing.
Wow.
Multifunction printer.
That's why I never said to do that. B. Authentication. Okay. Huh. Remember that. Okay.
An organization has too many variations of a single operating system. That means you get Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, right? Linux, Mac.
Unix.
It needs to standardize system and push a standard image to all the users. Which a following organization implement first. That's what we talked about. I even told you that you're going to do it.
Yesterday.
You're going to create a baseline image and you're going to use that gold image and image all the machines. So this is baseline stands for secure starting point. Where we're going to start. We're going to create one system with a baseline and we're going to use that baseline to image all the rest of the environment. D's answer. Stakeholders are meeting to discuss hypothetical roles. Huh?
I remember that.
This was on homework?
No, we talked about it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
We talk about tabletop exercise, man.
Yeah, we did. So, yeah, I guess somebody got this one right. It was like one and somebody got wrong. Okay, so this is tabletop. Good. Alright. Don't say I didn't show you. You see it pop up later.
So then what would the other one would be when it talked about, was it business continuity? Yeah, business continuity. You don't do that in a CEO meeting? You don't have that business continuity plan for situations like that? You do it at a tabletop? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what it's saying. The BCP is going to be a plan. We don't go to the tabletop to discuss the plan. It's a document that we hand out, and it's not going to be given to everybody.
Gotcha. This is the CEOs. Okay. All right. Okay.
So lesson 8, where we left off yesterday, lesson 8 talked about vulnerabilities, vulnerability assessments. A vulnerability again is what? A weakness. Right? So we had to assess our vulnerabilities in operating systems. If we don't patch, obviously, our systems, then it's going to lead to somebody compromising the integrity of my environment. So we have Microsoft.
Oh, is it possible to light on?
You want the light on?
Yeah, the right.
We had it off yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I wear glasses. Y'all wear glasses.
Party pooper.
We got glasses before this one. I got glasses.
I got one too.
Shoot, doing it on screens. Okay. All right.
So we got Microsoft Windows, as you can see here from on page 211, has different updates that come out to mitigate against different vulnerabilities. They're mentioning some types of vulnerabilities that affected Microsoft 2008 and 2017. We're not going to be tested on specific vulnerabilities, but of course what happens with these vulnerabilities is the patch comes out. So they talk about this WannaCry ransomware attack, May 2017, in Eternal Blue, right? These are famous viruses that came out. Of course, we know ransomware is going to encrypt your data. It's going to ask people to pay somebody to get their data back. Patches probably could have mitigated this. Macs, when you don't really think about Macs and viruses, but in 2014, there was a vulnerability called Shellshock, affected Unix, which is Mac's backend, and this allowed control of the command line interface. Bash shell is a command line interface. So that's that CLI we were looking at yesterday, black screen. Android, we got attacks with that, 2015. I'm not being tested on these, I'm just reading these just for your info, gang. Had a malicious attack to execute malicious code on an Android device over text messaging, specifically multimedia text messaging. iOS Right, so we know we have this running on Apple. Google's Zero Team discovered a series of vulnerabilities in iOS that a nation state attackers were abusing. So we know nation state are sponsored by a government. They were using water hole attacks that are getting people, tricking them to go to a trusted source. And based on that trusted source is where the malicious thing existed. And Linux had something called Heartbleed Bug 2014. This affected OpenSSL. That's in actually a lot of bugs. Heartbleed is in a lot of bugs. OpenSSL. So it allowed attackers to take advantage of OpenSSL, which is some type of programming language that used to be used, and compromise keys. Next page.
One of them, the Microsoft one,
Uh-huh.
when I got out of the Navy, I think my computer had got hacked. It wasn't big, it had so that means it was like, it wouldn't load, like a blue screen, it comes to us like blue screen, and then it'd be like, call this number or whatnot, and then they had remote access to my computer, and it was like, in order for you to basically get back onto your computer, you have to pay this what's called so we can fix it.
Mhm.
And yeah, I paid it, I ain't gonna lie, I did, and then they released my computer, but then it kind of like went into like something else again, so I took it to,
Dang.
yeah,
Take that?
it was my Navy computer. It had all my pictures and everything from the 4 years I was in. But I took it to this computer guy in Albany, and needless to say, I never got my computer back. He never gave my computer back. When I went back up there, he was gone. He just
Really?
closed the shop down and left. Yeah, so all
Wow.
my Navy pictures gone.
Are you serious?
Gone. All because somebody hacked into my thing and
So when you paid it, you didn't get your data back
They,
right
they
away?
never locked it. They just locked the screen. I couldn't let the load in. Like when I turn it on, it'll go to this screen. It's like blue screen.
So you were gonna take the hard drive out and basically get pictures downloaded.
I knew
And the
nothing
guy,
about
the guy stole your stuff.
He stole my
Closed the shop.
He probably went out of business and probably sold everything.
How long did you leave your computer there?
I was 2-3 weeks at max because I was in Bainbridge, he was in Albany, so
Like a legit, brick and mortar shop.
brick and mortar shop. And then because I go back up there to pick my brother up on the weekend because he was in Albany State, so I was like, when I come back to pick my brother up on the weekend, I'm gonna come back and get it. So it was just my 2 weeks because my brother didn't want to come home one weekend. So the next weekend I went back up there to get him, and I was gonna stop by the shop and it was closed down. And I was like, so I was calling the number, that wasn't working anymore. And I was like, all my 4 years of pictures and videos and everything just gone.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it is what it
That's
is.
terrible, man.
And I'm trying to piggyback off my friend, like, you got a picture? It ain't working.
Gee. EOL, end of life. End of life is a way in which we have these systems that we consider them legacy, anything that has an operating system or platform installed on it, and we're not getting updates any longer. It's considered end of life. Had a guy call me one day, and he was running Windows 7 on his machines, and he had got an email saying it's going to end of life, and he's just asking me, does that mean that my computers will stop working? He's not a technical guy, he's the CEO. I kind of giggled on the phone. I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that, but it means that an auditor comes to your organization and audits your environment, you guys might be in trouble if you're not on something that gets updates and is supported. So one way to still support legacy systems is you can actually move them to a virtual environment. So there's a lot of Windows XP systems running in a virtual environment. I showed you guys virtualization yesterday. And the hypervisor itself and the host machine that the virtual machine resides on, you can keep those up to date.
That's right.
Right? So these are one ways to still support it. Possible test question. Right? Firmware vulnerabilities on the next page. Firmware is a way to update the hardware of the system. We got to make sure that, again, printers have firmware, my computer has firmware, any device that is specific hardware, you want to keep that components computer up to date to mitigate against vulnerabilities. For example, somebody could release something, and iPhone got firmware updates too, but one of the things with iPhone, getting to that, there was an issue where Apple released an updated iOS, and it caused the user's batteries to drain too fast. So they released a emergency hotfix firmware update to fix the issue with the battery draining. So it was some app or something that was causing the battery to drain fast. Firmware can fix that. Hardware related issues.
Okay.
Virtualization vulnerabilities. So here they're talking about a concept called VM Escape. And VM Escape is the concept of me basically escaping my virtual machine. Now yesterday I had opened up OracleBox. I've shown you guys OracleBox, which is a type 2 hypervisor.
Yep.
And in this particular hypervisor, if I'm logged into this virtual machine, Kathy's Bootcamp VM, right? And I escape this virtual machine and I end up on the hypervisor, well, I would have access to all the virtual machines.
Right.
Because I have access to the management console. And here you can do anything. I could right click, I could delete all of these virtual machines, I can copy these virtual machines, put them on the thumb drive, I can shut them down, right? I can maybe even access somebody else's virtual machine and data. So VM Escape is me escaping my virtual machine and going into typically the hypervisor. Ways to mitigate against that is to put the virtual machine and the hypervisor on different networks, segment the network, and to keep the hypervisor up to date are other ways to mitigate against these types of attacks.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about on that page. 0-day vulnerabilities. Make sure that I don't miss anything. They're talking about application vulnerabilities. I mean, that's pretty broad term there. I don't even see application vulnerabilities in the book. Right? So just keep our applications up to date, what they're saying here. All right. 0-day vulnerabilities. Unfortunately, 0-day vulnerabilities, those are kind of hard to fix because it's an exploit that just came out and there's no patch for it. Right? So the only way you can really mitigate against the 0-day vulnerabilities, you have to make people aware, hey team, we heard this morning that a virus has got released into the wild. It's actually focusing on attacking schools. And since we're a school, we need to be more vigilant and make sure that we are aware that this virus is out in the wild and we could be under attack. So just making sure that people are known of this attack is the best way, because we're going to have to wait a week before a patch actually comes out to mitigate it against the 0-day exploit. There's no patch. There's no known fix. It says even here, right? I mean, you guys can read the PowerPoint slide, but it says here that there is no antivirus, there's no firewalls that are ineffective. They don't know how to detect it. They've never seen it before. It literally just came out. Misconfiguration vulnerabilities. As I mentioned yesterday, humans are the weakest link. So a human basically taking something out the box and setting it up and not changing any of those default configuration settings. Remember I said on Monday, nothing is secure by default. So we have to actually go in, we have to change some of the setups as far as the admin console, username, the password, some of the hardware configuration settings, network configuration settings, closing ports, right? Hardening the machine to make sure that we can mitigate against these weak configurations. They talk about the cloud services often have default settings too, and when we move our data to cloud, we want to make sure that we change some of those default settings in the cloud as well. Maybe ways in which you would typically log into the cloud, username, password. Well, how about I add two-factor authentication to log into the cloud, just to make it a little bit harder for somebody to access my data. Right? They have to have something I have, which is my phone, in order to access the data. are here to talk about using search engine results to solve technical problems. They're saying, troubleshooting issues. Yeah, it's actually an okay answer on an interview if somebody says, how would you troubleshoot an issue if you don't know how to resolve? It's okay to say Google, right? Because they want you to be able to go out and research the issue, right? Rather than asking somebody on the team how to resolve the issue. They want to make sure you're self-sufficient. I'm hiring you as a resource. So yes, I can go out, I can read documentation, I can understand it, and I can apply it to fix and resolve an issue.
That's right. Very true.
Cryptographic vulnerabilities. So here we're talking about cryptography, symmetric, asymmetric hashing algorithms. We talked about some of the weaker ones that we don't want to use. MD5, SHA-1 at 128 bits, SHA-1 at 160 bits, DES at 56 bits versus AES at 256 bits. Remember, the bit keys tell me the strength of the encryption. I don't want to use weak encryption protocols because they're easy. They're more vulnerable to being cracked. Again, we talk about hashing and collisions and using SALT to mitigate against these collisions, right? Make my hash different than your hash.
That's right.
Add some things here. Page 216 here. Improperly protected keys. Remember, the thing about the keys is that we want to store the key in a safe place. We talked about that yesterday called the key escrow. And then we want to have this M of N concept where it takes more than one person to go into the key escrow to recover the key. They also talk about just recalling HSM is a way to protect our keys. That's a hardware security module. That's the device that performs this thing called attestation, right? Where it's going to test the machine to make sure that nothing's been modified or changed maliciously on the machine. And it can halt the boot process for access to information, because that's what basically it's doing when it's booting to that machine. So it takes this integrity report and it compares that report to the previous report, and if things don't match up, it's going to stop that form of attack. On the bottom, page 216, they talk about sideloading, rooting, and jailbreaking. Rooting and jailbreaking is the same thing. That means you're taking a phone and you have put an unauthorized operating system on that phone, right? For Android users, it's going to be rooting. For Apple users, it's called jailbreaking. And the reason why we do that is so that we can actually install free applications. You don't have to pay for these apps or these games. Primary reason why people root or jailbreak their device. But typically what happens when you do that is you're actually having to bypass the authorized way to put applications on that device. That's what sideloading is. Bypassing the secure way of installing applications on that device.
APKs.
And then what happens with that is you could accidentally put something malicious on your device because you told the device, hey, allow unsecure software to be installed on my device. So most organizations don't allow people to bring in devices that have been rooted or jailbroken for that particular reason.
Right.
Because you could be bringing in something that has something malicious installed on it, and then you power it on, you got my data on there, and now somebody's compromised your phone because you had a weak operating system installed on it.
Right.
So remember MDM, that mobile device management, it won't even allow you to install MDM on a rooted or jailbroken device.
Right.
And this is actually a pretty good slide. It's got a good lot of information on it. I know you guys can read, so I'm not going to read the PowerPoint to y'all. Okay. Topic 8B. So 8B is talking about applications and cloud vulnerabilities. So this whole chapter is talking about vulnerabilities. We just talk about vulnerabilities in hardware, phones, vulnerabilities in default configurations, vulnerability in applications, operating systems, sorry.
Beautiful chapter.
And now we're talking about vulnerabilities in applications and vulnerabilities that are found in the cloud. So the first vulnerability we talk about here is a race condition, or it's called a time of check, time of use.
Yeah.
Now what happens in a race condition, I always show the same picture, same story, board. You can all read the book. Here at Cobb Energy, it's in Atlanta, Georgia, you can book tickets to go to a concert. Right? I kind of want to see this one. I saw this pop up last night. And wouldn't it suck if I got to the concert and I'm getting ready to sit down in my seats and somebody else is sitting down in my seats? That means the time that I'm coming into this database to select these two seats, somebody else is in the database at the same time selecting the two seats. Race condition. We're doing the same thing at the same time. So somehow this database has not been configured in a way that mitigates against that happening. We don't want that, right? You want to get in a fight when you go in there with your girl? Those are my seats, right? So what happens to mitigate against this? Well, I'm going to select these seats.
10
Now
minutes.
I'm going to hit
Count
next.
down.
And if I ticket now, man, I'm surprised this mess is already. These are my seats right here. This row right here in the front. You can see everything. I'm gonna do it later though.
They'll give you a countdown.
And hit next. You guys done Cobb Energy? Ever been to Cobb
Yeah.
Energy?
No, that place is huge.
It's beautiful though.
I go there all the time. But this is what they do.
Yeah, there's a
You do a
countdown.
timer. And what this does is it locks the database. So even though I haven't paid for the seats yet, I'm getting ready to buy them, and nobody else is going to see that those seats are open because it looks as though for the next 7 minutes that those seats have already been taken.
Okay.
All right. So that's what a race condition is, and the purpose of that is we don't want people in the database making changes at the same time because it can cause issues. Real life issues, but of course we're talking about data in this case. Memory injection. So on the next page, they talk about this thing called the buffer overflow. Of course, we can see pictures here, but again, let's take this in a simple context. I'm on a website, Marco's Pizza. All right, I'm gonna order some pizza. Let me go here. Now, when it tells me to sign in or sign up or put in some information into its interface to determine where the pizza is going to be delivered, each of these interfaces can only hold so much data. So much memory is available for these interfaces. So for example, zip code should only be able to hold 30066, 5 characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
A zip code should not be 45 characters or 1,000 characters and 10,000 characters. Because when a programmer develops his database, they're actually telling that interface how much data is expected to enter into that particular value, how much memory it can hold. So a buffer overflow attack is when somebody puts too much information into this interface that it can actually hold as far as memory is concerned. And it can actually cause that application to crash or worse yet, it could cause information from this database to be extracted and given back to the end user.
What is that Hamilton on the outside?
You said what?
The Hamilton in the ocean. What is that?
I don't know, bro.
That's crazy. I ain't never seen that.
Where?
Focus on some
Hamilton.
weird stuff.
My phone, sorry.
Wait, what are you talking about, though?
Hamilton in the water on the above San Juan. Right
Oh,
there.
this right here,
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Bermuda.
Bermuda.
Okay.
Oh.
I never seen that on.
I didn't even see a dot there, so I'm like, where's he talking about? I don't even see it. Yeah, they can't get pizza there. Marco, they ain't made it to Bermuda yet. Did you guys know there's no Chick-fil-A in Alaska? Yeah, not one.
Wow.
Not in one single. They're building. Last time I was in Hawaii, they're building one Chick-fil-A on the whole island. I said I don't want to be there when that opens because that's gonna be crazy. All right, so there's things we can do to mitigate against this thing called the buffer overflow attack. They're talking about on page 221, and these are testable test questions. What would we do to mitigate against this? They talk about buffer overflow attacks are mitigated on modern hardware and operating systems via something called ASLR. Being an acronym exam, you're probably just gonna have to know ASLR, not what it stands for, because it's an acronym exam. And another thing called DEP, Data Execution Prevention. So these are actually built in, Data Execution Prevention option in Windows. ASLR is actually in there too. I'm gonna show you guys an image real quick. So look here, this is Windows. And I'm gonna zoom in here. So this is Windows, System Properties, Advanced Settings. We're talking about memory. And here it says turn on DEP, Data Execution Prevention. Right? This is going to mitigate against this buffer overflow attack. And where's that ASLR is an option 2. Look, we're in Windows. And see, this is Windows, in Windows Defender Security Settings. Here's ASLR. It says it's off by default, so you have to go in there and turn it on if you want to mitigate against, again, buffer overflow attack.
Thank you.
So these are real settings.
Outstanding.
Type safe programming languages. Utilizing type safe programming languages, incorporating secure coding practices. These are all ways to mitigate against buffer overflow attacks. Right?
Gotcha. Beautiful. Good. Data execution prevention. ASLR.
Alright. So the updates, I guess since they're turning the page, there's a whole paragraph at the top, malicious updates. A malicious update refers to an update that appears legitimate and harmful code. So this is what the Trojan horse is. It appears legitimate, but on the inside it contains harmful code, right? So I'm going to update something. This is why you always got to go to Windows, official Windows website to perform updates, or official vendors. If I have a Dell machine and I update my Dell hardware, I'm going to Dell. I'm not going to go to some third-party software store on the web, drivers updates, right, for example, and get the driver from there and use that to update, because a lot of times those do contain malicious things. Look at that. See, I always thought that this software was a virus. It says in 2017, the legitimate software, C Cleaner, was compromised when an unauthorized update was released containing malicious payload. I never used C Cleaner. C Cleaner is like an antivirus.
Yeah,
It just goes through and looks for stuff malicious and removes it.
Yep.
But I always thought on the outside that it looked like a malicious, so I never used it. I mean, some people do, so I
do.
just choose not to, right?
Yep.
But it says it was compromised in 2017, and since there's lots of people who use it, it affected a lot of people.
Yep.
Another notable case was 2020 SolarWinds. Of course, we know
Yes.
SolarWinds got attacked, and that's why a lot of companies stopped using it. So SolarWinds is that same. I showed you on Monday the little tool that gives me events and alerts and aggregates things from multiple different locations. It tells me if systems are up or down. And military uses SolarWinds a lot too to monitor their systems. So they actually had to change software for a while, but a lot of them went back to using SolarWinds. Alright. So you can mention here. Download. Download. Evaluation scope. Scope refers to the product, systems, and services being analyzed for potential security vulnerabilities. So scope is me just going out and basically seeing the coverage or service of systems that are in my particular vicinity, and scoping out what I need to secure and what I don't need to secure. This could be software, network, security services, or even the entire IT. Alright, so, you know, to think about is that when people come to your job and ask you a question at a VA, you might say that's out of the scope of what I do here, right? You gotta go somewhere else. We only do this here. So here it is talking about what is the scope of what I'm evaluating in the organization. Am I evaluating everything? Or am I just evaluating IT, or just laptops, or desktops, or applications, everything? Right? That's the term scope. So here they're talking about different types of practices, different targets that we can perform this scope on. Target is a focus on a specific evaluation process. So here they're talking about primary goal of evaluation is to mitigate risk. That's what we are coming into this class, the risk mitigator. And to improve the security posture, ensure compliance. Compliance is making sure that we abide by laws, right? With relevant security standards and regulations. Regulations is another word for laws. That's the same thing for compliance. So HIPAA, you have to be compliant, HIPAA compliant. You can't be having people stealing people's medical record information and then go blabbing on the internet, Reddit, about people's test results. So some of these practices that you're talking about here, security testing, conducting assessments, pen testing, vulnerability assessment. Again, the vulnerability assessment is going to be one where I come into an organization and I perform this scanning of all your network machines. So it looks like that Nmap that we looked at the other day, right? But assessment, vulnerability assessment is not going to do what Nmap does. Nmap's a discovery tool. A vulnerability assessment tool is going to give me a ranking 1 through 10. 10 meaning that I'm going to prioritize it higher than something number 1. And the purpose of vulnerability assessment is to put controls, safeguards in place to lower that score. After I perform the pen test, I'm going to test to see if those safeguards actually secured your system. That's where the pen test comes in.
Yes.
But we have to make sure we have this thing called rules of engagement. Right? Making sure we give permission, making sure that we know the date and time, what systems are off limits, because we can't test HIPAA machines, pen test HIPAA machines, due to legalities.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need an escort to escort us around the office? All of these things, the CEO's permission, have to be discussed before we perform a pen test.
Like the death in the VA, that's the records that they want. A lot of veterans don't have their affairs in orders, and a lot of them are single males. So when they die, they just get the records and they buy their houses and their belongings because no one take care of them. So you basically buy for free because of the state to take over, and then they sell them.
Wait.
Tell my house.
Say that one more time.
The
Oh,
veteran.
the house?
Yeah,
when
the veteran owns a house.
Veterans, they don't have their affairs in order.
Right.
So a lot of them die, and then the people who basically get information from the VA. So you have insiders who be like, Rick Shepard died at 7 o'clock. You basically, and then I give out the information, then you go to the bank and be like, hey, way to go, like a week or two, I want to like to buy this property, 1305 Tree Hills property. And then they'll be like, they'll put it up and be like, oh, this patient is dead. And then I bid in the offer, and then they'll submit it to see if anybody in the family want to buy it. He don't really have any family. So they'll buy it for cheap. and that's what they
Who
like.
buys it?
Like-
Random strangers.
People, realtors,
That
Oh,
basically
realtors.
headhunters.
Banks,
So the
Yeah.
realtors, are they
banks.
in the VA saying
They
that
have
that stuff
somebody
happens?
who
Insider.
They have
Oh, they have an
insiders.
insider.
And then if they can get, they try.
They try to get it before it goes on
They
the
did
market,
have
kind
the
of thing.
system, I think, a couple of years ago. I'm not really sure what they got, but they did send us some stuff about if we get, like, if our information got leaked, then, you know, so they had, I don't know what they had, but they had gotten to something and stuff like that. So that's what they like for the veterans, is like that death certificate, that who died and all that stuff. Because a lot of them
Use that.
don't have their affairs.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of family members like, don't ever call me for that man ever again in your life. He be on his deathbed. I be like, yo, your father's in here dying. And he's like, is he dead yet? There's a lot of the women, is he dead yet? I be like, no, man, he's not dead, but he's in the ICU. He's about to die. But she be like, call me when he died. I'll come get the death certificate. Because he been with another woman for 20 years, but he never got divorced. So when he died, the wife will actually come up and get the death certificate. And then the woman who been with 20 years, like, what am I going to do? And she was like, baby, I don't know, but I don't care. And she gets Social Security with the house, the retirement, everything. And the woman who been with him for 20 years gets nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. And the police be like, you got to get out within 30 days.
Wow. That's the stuff you deal with?
Welcome to the military.
That sounds like a
That's a
crazy
day-to-day, you know what I'm
Jerry
saying?
Springer job,
And
man.
the women be like, what am I supposed to do? Like, man, no, man, you just...
You got that demeanor that you
never seen-
fit that job.
After you see it like 1,000 times,
Yeah.
man, that's nothing I can tell you, you know what I'm saying? You like 70 years old, you might have to get a job.
Yeah.
Type of thing. That's it.
I've seen that a lot in my command, brother.
You know?
I've had a lot of my soldiers do that, unfortunately. I tell them get divorced, man. Just get that paperwork signed. You know, just make it legal.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the whole issue. It's not legal. That's
Yeah.
why you're dealing with it.
And that woman be AOL.
Mm-hmm.
You 70 years old, some of your kids like 56, you ain't got nowhere to go. Now your husband or your male and whoever you with, he dead, he was taking care of you, 100% disability, Social Security, retirement check. I was living the life.
That's
Welcome
her
to the
fault,
military,
though. It is
brother.
her fault.
Welcome to the military.
She met him young.
They think
And
in
it's-
Georgia common law.
Well,
but
we all-
common law don't cover it if the person is still married to that other person.
Right. Yeah, 7
So
years,
you
you
don't
don't
get
get
that.
it.
He just never
To
got
that
divorced.
divorce, it don't
Mhm.
matter. Yep.
You know, that's his fault too, because he
It
didn't
is.
care.
It is.
It happens every day.
Yeah, mess. Yeah.
Every day.
Unfortunately.
What am I? You be looking at what am I? The nurses are ruthless.
Oh yeah.
I bet they are.
Well, the whole VA is a lot underfunded, so he's not even getting paid what they should be getting paid. So it's a lot. It's a big
You get
issue.
cursed out daily. That's a daily thing. You curse out.
Thank God. Yeah.
N-word. That's why I was asking you, was the phone line recorded at the VA? So like you said, the Cisco and everything. So I was like, is that recorded? Because they need to hear some of the conversation I have to deal with. Getting called a nigger. Oh, I can hear it in your voice, boy. You little nigger. That's why.
And depending on the network, we do
I can't
record
help
your
it.
calls.
I
I mean, I
can't-
set it up on my customers.
Yeah, I can't help
It
it.
might be
Your
recorded.
phone.
It might be recorded. You just don't know.
It's not me. I'm just like.
I'm talking about the line, both sides of the line.
Because I got sick of listening to the man call me a nigger like 20 times, and I'm trying to tell him, hey, are you gonna come see your father because he's dying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You mad at me because your father's dying.
So come say it to my face.
You can't do that.
Well,
Oh,
he's big and bad on the phone, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You say that. You never had nobody say that to your face, though.
they don't
right?
say when they come to the hospital.
No, they can't do that.
I
Get hit.
literally, when oh, that's Mr. John Jett? How you doing? My name Rick Shepard. And I stand there right there. I don't care. They never say anything.
Yeah.
It is what it
Can't,
is.
they can't.
It is what it is.
Oh, man, it's fun stuff. Documentation review. It's more practices. Review documentation, system design, architecture diagrams, procedures, ensure systems implement according to secure design principles and compliance requirements. So of course we want to make sure that we keep updated and secure big settings. Source code. So here we're talking about a developer designing some type of code. Maybe I'm a gamer, I've developed code. And thing is, I could be up late one night developing code and there could be lots of errors in my code. So to make sure that I have some way to evaluate this code, I get what's called peer review. Somebody else with a different set of eyes is more fresh to look over my code and make sure I didn't mess up. So secure coding is sometimes they call peer review. But in essence, we just want somebody else to look over and make sure we're doing the best when it comes to securing our code. One thing we can do is what's called input validation, which is a way in which, for example, if I go to Amazon, type in YFJLK. I use Amazon as an example. What's trending today? Same thing from yesterday. All right. Teeth still? Yeah. All right. So on Amazon, this is an interface, and people are going to input data inside of this interface. But what if somebody inputs like random characters, right? Or what if somebody inputs code in there and hits enter and injects code or injects buffer overflow attack, 2 billion characters of information? How is that database going to react? Is Amazon going to crash? Is it going to spit out, based on the code, sensitive information about the customers? So input validation is when somebody goes in there and performs that Q&A, right, quality assurance, and validates any type of data that can be put inside of this interface, and how is the system going to react to it, right? Sometimes they call it fuzzing, because I don't want to do it myself. There's a tool called a fuzzing tool that will automate and randomly generate information into it. It's like kind of like AI. It's going to randomly put in a bunch of information to test the security of that database.
So that's called fuzzing?
Fuzzing. Yeah, there's a term in the book.
Gotcha.
So I might put that here too. Fuzzing. Configuration assessment. So of course this is talking about change management, because anytime you talk about making a big configuration change, that is change. You got to make sure we document that. Evaluate configuration settings, ensure that they align with the best practice. So don't leave things default. And of course we strive for best practice, such as access controls. So if I make a config change, I got to make sure that people who need to have access, people who need to have access, don't have access, and I have maybe two-factor authentication to make sure I can secure against that administrative console. Make sure we got good encryption. All right, we talked about authentication and other security-related configurations. So here I'm going to write two-factor authentication. I'm going to write best practice. And encryption.
Beautiful.
Cryptographic analysis in 223. Assess cryptographic mechanisms. So cryptography, we talked about this, is the study of, or the art of, taking something as plain text and converting it into ciphertext where I can't read it. So I have to make sure I use good cryptographic algorithms, including encryption algorithms, key management, and secure key storage. We just talked about how to secure a key, how to store a key, right? This thing called a key escrow. Ensure the proper implementation and use of cryptographic schemes according to industry standards and guidelines. So here I'm just going to say use strong encryption. Right, so AES, for example, would be strong encryption. AES is symmetric. RSA is an asymmetric. Right, keep private key secure. Compliance verification. Verify, again, the word compliance is laws. Right? Verify compliance with standards specified by relevant regulations. That's laws. Frameworks, which are going to be what we talked about on Monday, guides, and and security certifications. So here we just got to make sure we have things in place in our organization that allow us to operate in a legal fashion. So let me say here, regulations are that i.e. ECI, DSS, one we talked about, HIPAA. Is that right?
HIPPA.
HIPAA,
Yeah.
HIPAA. Security architecture. Evaluate security architecture. We talked about architecture yesterday. We talked about switches and routers, firewalls. We looked at different firewalls. We looked at SAN and NAS. Right. So evaluate security architecture design to identify potential weaknesses or gaps in security controls, such as insufficient segregation of duties, lack of audit trails, and inadequate access controls. So segregation of duties. Sometimes they call it separation of duties. I'm not sure why they changed it to segregation of duties. If you guys recall, I talked about my brother, Chick-fil-A. Said his duty was to bread, flour, and fry the chicken. But he didn't know everything that went into making that chicken sandwich. So they segregate or separate these duties so that not one person knows how everything's done. Mm-hmm. This is how they implement what's called trade secrets at corporations. Mm-hmm. But segregation of duties is just a good way to implement security, period. We don't want to have one person that can do everything at the job. That means that one person can do a lot of fraudulent things to get away with it. Mm-hmm. We want to promote collusion. Judy can't write checks, cash checks, and approve checks. Because if Judy could do all three, she could pay herself. Mm-hmm. So she can only do one of the three. And she's got to work with somebody else to approve and cash the checks. So they use an acronym, SOD, separation of duties, segregation of duties. Now that they want to change the word in 701 all of a sudden. Means the same thing. Making sure we have accounting. So remember, that's basically non-repudiation. We can actually point the finger and say somebody did something and they can't deny it. And inadequate access control. So again, this is going to be two-factor authentication again. I'll just say MFA this time, multi-factor authentication. All right, pen tester versus attacker. Well, what's the big difference here? And this is not even in the PowerPoint. Well, a pen tester is ethical, and an attacker is non-ethical. That's just the main difference there. You kind of move on. So attackers are going to go in there and they're going to penetrate the environment, but they're not going to tell anybody how they got in and what they did and what they stole. Pen tester is going to do everything an attacker does, but my job is to tell you what I did, how I did it, help you so it doesn't happen again. Web application attacks. So yesterday we talked about a device called a WAF, Web Application Firewall. We're clicking and dragging that in SIM. Its job is to protect against this web server. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of different types of web application-based attacks that happen on the internet, starting with this cross-site scripting attack. Right. This is when a user takes advantage of a website.
I was doing the answers last night, but it didn't have the definition. Mm-hmm. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, cross-site scripting. So X cross. Sometimes you might see CSS, so don't get thrown off. CSS instead of XSS. Same thing here. Here you have a C, cross-site request forgery. Sometimes it might be an X, SRF. The opposite. The website takes advantage of the user. So I'm going to show you an example. And this is just an example, guys, of what a cross-site scripting attack would look like. So here I'm going to go to Bank of America, and I'm performing a cross-site scripting attack. The user, that's me, I'm going to take advantage of the website. So what I do is I go up here to the URL and I manipulate things about the URL. Right? Login, account number, and I type in an account number, and I type in a user's ID. Right? ID equals 2456. Now hitting enter, if this was a correct account number and if they didn't have anything in the particular system that would mitigate against a user taking advantage of the website, I would, as a user, gain access to this particular account without authenticating on the front-facing interface. So yes, a cross-site scripting attack can be done without actually having to authenticate to the website. Alright? Some users manipulated something about that website. A cross-site request forgery attack is the opposite. That means the website has taken advantage of my trust. So I would log in here to an account. I trust the website, but the website's taking advantage of the user. I transfer $100 from my account to my brother's account. I pick up the phone, I call my brother, said, "Did you get the 100?" He's like, "No, I didn't get it." So now I'm calling Bank of America because I'm like, "Hey, I sent $100 to my brother's account and it didn't get there. What did you guys do? You guys took advantage of my trust."
Mhm.
Right? So a forgery attack is when we might have somebody maliciously hiding in that website that took advantage of the website and caused that user to do something other than what they intended that website to do. I intended for it to transfer $100 from my brother's account, but it didn't get there. So the website takes advantage of the user. That's a short definition. An SQL injection attack is when I input SQL code. Typically SQL code, let's see if there's any SQL code in the book. They have SQL code in the book, right? It's on page 226, but these are statements. Select. We have from, we have or, we have these apostrophes, and then we have this 1 equals 1. These are SQL statements, right? All of them are there in the book. Anytime you see these statements, this is what's considered SQL code, all right? So for example, here they're saying select from the table where the username is Bob. So saying go into the database and look at all the columns and look for the username Bob. Or select from the table where username is 1 equals 1. That means to go into, I'm reading from the book 226, 1 equals 1 is true. 1 equals on or true. So it's saying, I don't care what the username is, just go into the database and give me all of the users in the database. Could you imagine going into Amazon and saying, give me all of the users in Amazon's database? Right? Especially a competitor like Alibaba, when you wanted to compete with Amazon, and you can steal all their clients and you can send emails to all their clients, blast emails, and you can get the same thing at Amazon for 20% cheaper here. So these are ways in which, like I said, if somebody doesn't do proper input validation, you can inject code inside of the database or interface, and it would extract information. So here they're injecting SQL code.
So select from is the SQL injection or is part of it as well?
Yeah, so what I have up here, Ricky, these are SQL code commands. So if you're coding SQL, these are keywords that you would type in that are indicative of SQL.
It'll always start with select from?
It doesn't.
Okay, that's what
These are just these are just out of order.
Okay.
They're just little keywords to look for.
Okay.
I mean, here you can see in the book that is SQL code. It does not always start with that. You can write SQL, coding, remember, you gotta think about coding. One reason I stopped going to school to program video games is because everyone codes different. I could accomplish the same information text here and write this code totally different than how it's written in the book. And that's not what's important. That's not what's important. It's not important to see how this code's written. It's important to be able to pick out these words and be like, oh, that's SQL. I moved back from class. That's SQL language, right? So if you're given in an exam a snippet of code and it says analyze the code above and figure out what's going on, and you see these words, then you should know automatically, oh, that's SQL code. I don't have to read the code, but I know that's SQL code. So what's happening, probably an SQL injection attack.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Cloud-based application attacks. So yes, the cloud is now a target. Cloud-based target application hosted on a cloud, exploiting potential vulnerabilities within the cloud infrastructure. They run to carry out malicious activities. Cloud-based application attacks involve exploiting misconfigurations. One of the biggest things is people in the IT realm get access to the cloud and they don't know how to configure things in the cloud. So now they thought they configured something secure, but that misconfiguration is now going to be what a hacker uses to gain access to data in that cloud. Weak authentication, that's why I say you gotta have two-factor. Insufficient network segmentation, meaning that I gain access to the cloud and all of your resources happen to be on the same network, nothing segmented. Right? And they say here, poorly implemented access controls. Well, that is authentication. Right? Compared to traditional application attacks, cloud-based attacks have a unique characteristic. In the cloud, the shared responsibility model can lead to confusion. Who's responsible? So what happens if the cloud gets compromised? Is that Microsoft's responsibility or is it my responsibility?
Microsoft.
Well, it could be mine too, because if I went in there and I didn't implement a secure way to access my cloud, and maybe I had the password as password, right? I can't really blame Microsoft, or maybe I gave out my information to all the employees here. I can't really blame Microsoft.
Good point.
Yeah. But that's what they're saying. This line of who is responsible now is not entirely clear. The highly accessible and scalable nature of the cloud can make cloud-based application attractive to targets. Hang on, let me take some notes here. Target application hosted in platform clouds. Exploit potential vulnerabilities with hosted applications. Exploit cloud infrastructure. I don't like this. I don't like anything on this slide. Implement access control. Secure configurations. Shared responsibility. Explored. This is sometimes called a CASB game, C-A-S-B. You're not going to see it spelled out, promise. Right? You might have seen a homework question on this.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Test question.
So we'll talk about that in one second. Cloud as an attack platform. So I'm on third paragraph here, 26. Highly accessible, scalable nature of a cloud can make cloud-based applications attractive targets for attackers. For example, an attacker may exploit a vulnerability in a cloud-based application, resulting in access to other resources within the same cloud environment, providing access to infrastructure in ways typically impossible for traditional application attacks. I would just say that, yeah, traditionally, you would have to come into my organization to access that application. Now, you could be in China and access that application, which kind of sucks, but that's the thing about the cloud. I'm not going to add anything about that in the notes, though. Some attack types are specific to cloud, such as side channel attacks, where an attacker with an instance running on the same physical server as the victim attempts to extract information from the victim's instance via shared resources. Attackers can exploit misconfigurations, weak security controls, cloud environments to gain unauthorized access. Right? Cloud services also can be used for crypto jacking, where an attacker uses cloud processing power. Crypto jacking. I guess that's the new one they want to add here. Crypto jacking. So, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all right? We talked about this blockchain the other day, but Bitcoin, how it is created is mined. And if you understand that concept? Okay.
Supercomputers, yep.
All right, cool.
Big old, huge computers, yeah.
Yeah. So cryptojacking it's illegal. It means that I can't go to the cloud and say, cloud, I want to use all your resources and I want to use your system to mine cryptocurrency. But that's what people are doing here. Other systems as a means to mine means of mining crypto. Alright. Cloud is an attack platform at the bottom. Attackers can also use cloud platforms for phishing and malware distribution. They can easily set up fraudulent websites that mimic legitimate ones on the cloud services and use these sites to trick users into revealing sensitive information. In addition, they can exploit cloud storage services to host malicious files. Think about Dropbox, OneDrive, what's some other cloud, Google Drive, and then distribute these files via phishing emails and other means. So yeah. Going to get product resources, the broad one. Alright, so what's a CASB? If you read the definition backward, it tells us what a CASB is. Broker means to connect. Connecting what? A secure connection while accessed in the cloud. So this tool can be used to implement security policies to monitor when people try to access the cloud. And what are they doing when they're accessing the cloud? I'm at home. I'm accessing the cloud. The CASB is going to be sitting there and it's going to be seeing what time did Sean access the cloud? What did he access the cloud for? What data did he download from the cloud? Is he allowed to access the cloud at that time and download data from the cloud? That's what this tool is doing. It's a way to secure my cloud, right? So monitoring and implementation of security is what the CASB is going to be doing. You can see they're monitoring audit users and resources. So the main thing here is it's used for monitoring.
And you talked about yesterday different proxies, forward and reverse, so which goes with that.
Oh yeah, see that's on the next one, right? Yep. So we've already talked about that, forward and reverse proxy. An API here they have at the bottom, that's a mini program. We talked about that. I think I showed you guys API in this class. Did I? I logged into my Azure portal.
Yeah.
Okay. Supply chain. So we talked about what a supply chain is, right? Of course, the risk of this is what a unauthorized product makes it into Apple's supply chain, and it makes it to Apple's phone, and now Apple has a vulnerability. So there's these potential risks that these products that are manufactured by companies, we have multiple vendors that are going to be supplying goods for that product. And if they get compromised, it ends up in my hardware, and I'm in trouble as well. So yeah, there's nothing here to highlight a bunch of fluff in the book. Obviously, they're talking about, yes, make sure that we maintain security of who we get our hardware and software from, right, materials from, to make sure that this stuff does not make it into my company's infrastructure. Software bill of materials, SBOM, it's bottom of 228. A software bill of materials is a comprehensive inventory of all components in a software product. All components in a software product. This includes the code, all dependencies such as libraries, frameworks, and other third-party components. So everything that makes up that software is going to be in this software bill of materials. The SBOM includes details like components, names, versions, and information about suppliers. The SBOM aims to provide transparency and visibility to software supply chain, which can significantly help mitigate software supply chain issues by detailing all the components used in the software product. SBOM enables developers, security teams, and end users to understand components of their software, and the visibility aids at potential vulnerabilities in third-party components. SBOM. I'm not sure why they're writing this stuff out when it should be acronyms. Trust me, you've been doing it in homework questions now to know that the exam's acronym. All the questions are acronyms. So SBOM is used to give a complete see how many workers. Dependency analysis, bottom of 229. OWASP, I'm going to go to their website here in a minute. Dependency checks the solver composition analyst or SCA tool. We do talk about SCA and SysP. That identifies project dependencies and checks if there are any known publicly disclosed vulnerabilities associated with them. This tool is very useful for creating a software bill of materials, right? So this dependency check is basically going to go in and scan the software, and it's going to come back with a report of everything dependent. That dependent means everything that is being utilized in that software in order for it to function. What is it dependent on? All the dependencies. Can't even think of a different word other than using dependencies. Yeah, I mean dependencies is the best word, but for example, I would say, if we don't understand dependencies, if I install an application like, let's make this easy, a game. You've ever installed a game that says that you need to have Microsoft Visual Studio Plus Plus or C++,
yes,
or a redistributable package,
yep,
right?
365.
Huh? Oh, you don't do computers?
You don't do computers?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So on computers,
Yeah.
right, unlike console, when you install a computer game, if your computer doesn't have certain other applications that are up to date, the game will say it can't run, and it'll give you an error and say you must install this package, this package, this package before you can install this.
Right.
Yeah.
Like on Steam game. You ever played Steam?
I heard about it, but I never got into
That's
it.
computer.
Yeah.
So if you get your computer and you keep it up to date, you don't have to worry about those dependencies. But if you're not technical, right, and you just trying to play a game, this can give people trouble because they're like, I can't play the game. I see it on the forums all the time. I'm having trouble running this game. It's saying that I need this. Where do I get it?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Why can't I run the game?
It's not just downloadable?
It is downloadable.
Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But sometimes it doesn't tell you where to go to download it. Which is the
Right.
problem.
Right. I just Googled. Google.
Okay.
Yeah, Google's the move. So I'm gonna use that game analogy. So the Pennsylvania Check and Generate report telling me what am I missing, or what's part of this software package. The type of report service is based on creating SBOM, as it lists all the components that the software depends on. Quincy Check is designed primarily to assist in detecting outdated or vulnerable components. So maybe it depended on Service Pack 1, and we know Service Pack 1 is vulnerable. So that might be software I might not install because part of the application that allows that software to run uses a vulnerable application. Right? Right. We don't really have to go to OWASP because they're not talking about. Actually, you know what? We don't have to go to OWASP yet. We probably will end up in OWASP, but not yet. Right, 8C. So vulnerability scanning. Last topic here. I think. Is it 8C or is it 8D? Alright. It's past break time. Let's go ahead and break right here at 8C. Then we'll come back and we'll do 8C and 8D.
Gotcha.
And start the lesson 9.
Gotcha.
See you back in 10 minutes. So this is called 10:40.
All right.
Cool.
So you don't have you say you're looking for a computer, or I know you're a vet, so you know we got that discount on PX on the exchange for computers.
Yeah.
You ever thought about using that?
I have a Mac, an Apple Mac.
Uh-huh.
I have that.
And how much RAM does it have? How much RAM?
Well, it was a birthday gift.
Oh.
I don't even use it.
I mean, does it have enough RAM to run? With Mac, I have a Mac too,
Yeah.
and with Mac, you have to have what's called a VM, and we talked about in class to run that. That's the PC, but Mac has a whole different look than a PC.
Yeah.
But I have on my Mac, I have what's called a virtual machine where I can run, as you learned in class,
That's what I'm saying, yeah,
I can run my OS or PC operating system, but it has to be, well, no, it could be a VM. It don't have to be a container. Remember, container is one, VM is another.
Yeah.
But the difference between a container is it's smaller, like he said. That's a good test question. But the thing I was bringing out was, I know you didn't bring it in. You can bring your Mac in, because, I bring my Mac in.
It just got a switch. You got a track on it.
Oh, okay.
So that's why
You can't see through it?
I can.
Because you can run it through a cord, which
I just like-
you can hook it up to the back with a USB.
I just like this fit.
Yeah.
I just like this right here.
Oh, okay. What I'm asking is that because I'm a vet too, man, and I bought my computer from the PX. I got all my stuff because Donald Trump gave us back in 2017 access to buy everything with no taxes. So I
Yeah,
get
he
my
was,
computer with no tax, everything no tax. But you get it too. You did 4 years.
Yeah, I get
So
all
you qualify for that. So it's called. So you already got approved.
What it's called?
PX Exchange. Shop my exchange.
I can just go to the PX.
Yeah, so you go? Because,
No,
the
I'm
only
not-
base that we got is Columbia. Well, you're Navy. I forget you're Navy. I'm an Army
You
guy.
can go to anyone.
But you can, but I don't go to Navy. I'm an Army
Why
guy.
not?
So I go to, I really don't go on Navy bases. I'm Army. I go to Fort Benning, Fort Houston, Fort Gordon.
Go to the Navy.
I'm Army guys. We separate. We all separate. Until the VA part. But my point is this. If you know about the discounts, man, you are in VA. You should definitely get that computer, because the best way to pass this test is not just memorizing it. It's that other part. It's that how do I connect it to OWASP, like the website we're gonna learn in a few minutes. How do I connect everything he's saying? Because you're brand new to the industry, and I want it because you said it a few minutes ago. I'm brand new to this, and I've been in it for 20 years, and I would love to help people that have been in it that's brand new from us, because there's a lot of bumps and rocky roads that I made on the way that you shouldn't have to make, because I can tell you or give you some insights on how to not get fucked up.
Yeah.
You feel me? And from brother to brother, man to man, I may be an officer and you may be enlisted, but that don't matter. We are brothers in the sense that we're brothers. You feel me? And so I don't want to see anybody look like me have to struggle, being as I was the only black man in my units. I was always
I'm
the
not
one.
in the military. I just.
Oh, you were in the military though, right?
I did my 4 years.
Yeah. So you were. So
I
you're a
thought
vet.
I thought you was
Yeah,
saying
you
like,
ain't right now, but
I'm
you
not-
were.
yeah,
Yeah, you're a vet. So
yeah,
my
yeah,
point
yeah.
is, once a vet, always a vet. I mean,
that's
I know you
okay.
Navy guys are a little different than
Oh,
us,
no,
but
it's all
we
right.
feel like once a Marine, always a Marine.
It's forever. It's forever.
For sure. So
Yeah. But I
my big.
thought you were thinking that I was.
No, I know.
still
I
in.
know. I didn't think you was still in. No, I figured, but because you know, you got to. You know, I figured some people could be. You 37. You might have been a E8. I got a couple of guys who 37 years old, E8s, E9s. I know y'all call them Master Chief Petty Officer. We call them Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant. I was in your branch. I was a Lieutenant junior grade, so that's like a 03.
Okay.
Y'all call y'all's like a lieutenant, a captain, then above that is lieutenant junior grade. We call ours a major, then lieutenant, colonel, all that stuff. But the bottom line is that when I was a PFC and I jumped in, because I was in the Army for 1992. I enlisted. I got out right in 2005, right after we went to Iraq.
Okay.
And the first time, it was second for Afghanistan, first time. Iraq, the second time. So I went in there. That's when I went in. But
So you didn't want to finish that?
Huh?
13, 14 years?
man, no, hell no. I make more money. I make more money doing in the last 20 years than ever making in the military. Military can't pay me what I'm worth, all because I got these certs.
They can't, but
No, they can't. They ain't paying no $300,000 a year.
Reserve.
Reserve don't pay crap. What are you talking about, man?
It's not the pay.
For me, I don't care about the pay. I care about promotion. I serve my country.
Yeah, so you
I serve my country. I got my DD-214. I'm good.
But you did.
I got my DD-214.
You did 13. You did
Yeah,
13.
I got my DD-2.
Two more terms.
I don't have to take no more mess. I don't want to take no more bullshit from any officers. I've done my sirs. I've done my
You
time.
do 1 2 week tour, and then.
I was reserved. I was active duty and reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah, but my
that's
point
still
is
retired.
back to my point. Let's don't segue. Let's don't segue. Let's focus on what we gotta focus on. You know, you're a soldier. You gotta lock in, right? So as we lock in, man, I just want you to know that hey, if you want to get out of VA, because I don't know if you want to stay government and do the DoD contract and get that. There's a DoD contract I'm applying for right now, and it requires having this cert plus one more cert.
Okay.
It's called the DoD 8570 cert.
Okay.
Yeah, and that one is what all of us guys who are in IT, and they teach it here. He don't teach it. It's called 85. A lot of blacks don't know about 8570 certification. And the 85 Department of Defense 8570 certification, this course meets it. Here are the courses that are on the schedule. If you want to stay in military,
No, I'm listening.
CISSP, that's the next
I'm
one.
thinking about this.
That one is the next class. But if you get one or this one plus a couple more, you can just totally go to work for a government contractor, a subcontractor, stay, get your benefits. Actually, they'll merge your time with your 4 years. So you get your 4 years going as a GS 6, 7, 8, 9. You work your way up to GS 15. Then you get all the benefits. If you like the military, I mean, I've done my time. I'm a private sector now. But InfoSec for information security, the CISSP, it's a 90 question test, 90 minutes, just like this one. They have a boot camp, and guess what? I think he teaches that boot camp. CISSP. It's called. If you look at the notes, I'm gonna ask you a question. On the boot camp, if you go look at the notes, you'll see it in the notes. It says CISSP. He gave us those.
I see.
That's what he's talking about. But
Very
it,
accessible.
yeah, he gave it to us 2 days ago. His OneDrive. Yeah,
I seen
yeah.
it, but I was.
Yeah, if you
I'm
double,
focused on
but
what
the
they do.
problem is that it's just a picture. He don't give us the test because that's a different $4,000 class. So we ain't gonna get that information. That costs $4,000. But this $4,000 class that we're taking right now, that's how much I'm paying for it. It's a prerequisite for the CISSP. So once you pass this, you kind of build on the CISSP. Right now, they're starting people off at $90,000. I'm not sure how much you get paid a year, but I know $90,000 ain't too bad, especially as a government person. And you don't have to be having people cuss you out and call you the N-word. You feel me? Huh?
Oh.
You said a few minutes ago it was called the N-word, man.
But insulting.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
And no one
yeah.
insults me again. Not anymore. Now, in the Army is a different story, but not.
I thought you were saying you don't mind me calling you anyway. I'm like,
No, but you feel me? Because that's disrespectful. I mean, you grown man. Who should call a grown man that? But see, that's what you deal with when you're in that doggone world, you know? So I just want to help bless you, man, because I had brothers bless me when I started off in IT, and but I've also had a lot of brothers that not said shit. Excuse my French. I'm gonna just keep it to you real. Some cats don't want to tell you the truth because they want you to fail because they want to win. So it's all about if I win, you lose, I win. It's all about dog eat dog, survival of the fittest. Kind of like in the military sometimes. But here it's like I feel like you're coming up behind me. I'm 48, so you're like 10 years younger than me. So you got 10 years to get to where I'm at. So if you look, let me ask you a question. Do you have the actual slides that he been going over? Did you? Because I don't have those in my
Well, I don't
list.
think they're all matched up. The 601 Sims or the 601 Notes.
No, the slides he was doing right now. He was going through these different
I think he
PowerPoints.
think he's curating those at the moment.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah, I
thought.
don't think we have those.
Because I'm sitting on one there, yeah. Because I've been trying to follow him in the slides to make sure, yeah. So yeah,
Some of them match up in the 601 Notes, some of them.
Yeah.
But then it'll be like, you're nowhere near the same location.
yeah, I got both. I made because he had already did the VCS update, and I've already been taking those practice exams.
But like he was saying that the chapters are different.
Yeah, he did.
So, yes, it'll be like we'll be in chapter 8
Yeah.
in the book and then he'll
Chapter
be
10 on the
chapter 12.
notes. Yeah. But that's life. That's how it is. I mean, hey, but the biggest thing is I know he's teaching us what the test's gonna be like,
True.
but that's not what the real life is like. Yeah, you pass a test, and this is why I got caught. He said it the other day. I got 4, 5, 6, 7 certs, but a guy that interviewed me, a white gentleman, he's like, okay, well, tell me an example of this, and I'm like, because I didn't know.
My thing on that, like I got people at the job, like this man, he gets your certificate, you come on, he's man, I help you out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because
You got somebody like that.
I can at least spend a year.
Oh, that's good.
Working underneath
I'm
him.
glad you got that.
Yeah, and not have to go out there.
Yeah. And you 37, so you got plenty of time by the time you get to my age. Because by my age, you got to know it. You can't just be coming up, I'm starting over at 40 something. No. Yeah, so that's good to know. I'm glad you got somebody
like
like
be
that.
thrown to the woods and just like, you know what I'm saying, in that aspect, just
Yeah.
walk through it.
If you got somebody that's got your back like that, I had a lady that did me the same way 10 years ago. She had my back. And thank God she did, because they were like, man, all my white boys are coming behind me like, I want your job. I want his job, man. Let me get him out there so I can get his job. And I'm sitting trying to learn this stuff because I know that right now, as soon as I quit, boom, they got my job.
Nipping at your ankles.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So that's the game, but that's the business. But yeah, so yeah, man. I just want to tell you, if you I got a virtualization server in my house. The sucker is like this tall, and it's it's like 4 switches, 4 routers. Because like he said, you got to build that stuff at home if you want to get into security. You want to have your own networks.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent about $200 a month just on the electricity costs because I got to run all the servers in my basement.
What do
But
you
that's-
run off of?
I run electricity with the routers. Remember you showed those $90,000 routers
you just got
yesterday?
'em?
I get them off eBay. You go to
You just
eBay.com.
got them just to have them. They don't really do anything.
No, they work.
Just for like practice.
Yeah, they work. They work. If you go to eBay and type in CCNA lab kit, you'll see thousands of kits starting at $600 to $2,000. Mine was like $3,000. I bought the advanced version, but there's so many kits. Those are right there. Yeah.
You know, I'm so scared to get on eBay.
Why?
It's blocked at my job, so I think
Oh.
security has it.
Yeah. All right, let's get some water. Mm. Mm.
I need to get food. I got one little fact. My mom got scared. Let me see. So when you get the kids, what do I do with it then? I just play with it, learn how to operate it.
No, what you need to do is open up another tab, and type in Cisco. Yeah, open up another tab on your top. Go to this website, www.cisco, CISCOPRESS, one word, CiscoPress.com. Yep. You need to sign up and make your own account. But at the very top left, there's going to be it's going to say certifications. You should see it at the top left. Right bottom left, or right below the word Cisco. See where it says blue? There's a blue Cisco there. To the other left. Yeah, right there. Go down right there. These are the different certifications that all of us can choose. We choose one. So whichever path you're going to pick, you got to decide. We all start with CCNA. So click on CCNA, and these are the books that all of us have. These are the basic foundation of IT. So they got books going back to 2010. The one that you want to get is called CCNA 200-301. 200-301. That's 500 pages, but that will give you everything to help you start with your router and switch. It's like the foundation of the router. Yep, there it is. That's a simulator, but you're not ready for that. You want to get, that's both. It's both. It's a guide and the simulator. So that actually has both in there. What is it, $79? Mine was like $79 when I bought mine. Okay, so that has the extra simulator too. So that's good because simulator costs like $60 extra, so they kind of combined it. But it's a guide, and it's a big guide. They teach it here. He teaches it as well. But like I've been told and practice on, if you get your lab, man, it'll help you learn out those issues, those problems with routing and stuff like that. Which I tell you, if you really want, yeah, see that right there? That's what I bought right there. Yeah, 2 routers, 2 switches, and those old switches, and yeah, 3065, 3650s. Those are 3650s. That one 34. Yeah, 34. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the start, man. We'll talk after class. I mean, if you're down for it, I mean, it's an investment because they gonna you have to come out your own pocket, but it's an investment.
Use Packet Tracer for that.
He said the old see he that's one way. Remember he said earlier you can code multiple ways, but all the goal is just like this. You can do it multiple ways, but the goal is to understand it. That's the goal.
Like I was saying at the video, I still can cross train as well.
Yeah.
So I can do networking because the people at the job they do networking.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of jobs.
Yeah, they do. They just got done redoing this.
The switch cabinet,
They outsourced it because it was a mess.
Yeah, them they do that a lot. Like he talked about managing.
It's coming from a guy that doesn't have a computer.
He said he got a Mac, but the screen cracked. That's what he said.
It was bought for my birthday.
So I told him, he's got.
I always have this computer. This is my best skill. I don't like the smaller computer, the laptop.
Oh, I agree.
So you have a desktop at home? Or
I have a desktop.
It's not a gaming one.
Not a gaming one.
I got you.
And I have a laptop as well. I just don't use it. I have a MacBook. I just don't like the small feel. It made my shoulders make me feel small.
Yeah.
Just get a bigger monitor, dog. Just get a big monitor. You got you want something? Okay, all right. Yeah, you don't want to get like me, man. Have that broken neck because you're so busy at the computer all day and you get a humpback. You don't want the humpback. You know what I mean? So, make sure. Oh, you be leaning back. Shoot, you have to be on the computer for a while.
So here they're talking about HC vulnerability scanning. So this picture is a picture of Greenbone. Greenbone software that I'm familiar with. I used it. It's Linux based, so it's free. But there's a full-fledged vulnerability assessment software tool. So what you see in this picture is basically a scanning lot of systems in the network, and based on the we call this like a pie chart graphical representation, you can see how many are detected as high, how many are medium, how many are low, how many are just informational log variants. Now all the things that are set as high, that would be my job to fix. I have to go in there and remediate and figure out why all those vulnerabilities are so high. Right? So this is the cornerstone, is what it says, of modern cybersecurity practices, focusing on identifying, classifying, and then, like I said, I gotta fix, I gotta remediate these vulnerabilities. But I don't know what to remediate and fix, but I don't know how to find out what exists. So that's what it does. It helps me figure out and find some of these vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities are like unpacked systems, misconfigured systems, weak configurations, default settings. All those things are considered vulnerabilities.
So you run that in the Linux VM, and then you put down on the Linux VM that you got, right?
It's Linux based, so it's actually a whole operating system that you
Oh.
install called Greenbone.
And it work on PC? 'Cause I'm looking at it now.
No,
I didn't think so.
I ran it on a VM.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you could do it on a PC. I don't think it.
And
is-
Ubuntu,
I don't
okay,
think-
Ubuntu and Debian. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't install. This is how I installed it. I installed it as a standalone. Right? Could you install it on top of a operating system? Probably. I didn't do that. I installed it as a standalone.
Oh, thank you,
But
thank you.
it's free, and then you get the other ones on the next page. Nexus is another one.
Get that one.
Nexus is free too, right? But Nexus also has a paid version as well.
Awesome.
So you can go to openbox.org and download it. You can go to tenable.com. And military, they use Tenable and Nexus to scan their vulnerabilities. But when we run these scans, we have to make sure that we run these using some specific credentials. So you see in this picture here, and it's in your book, that they have opened up the software
Yeah.
and saying, what account would you like to use to run and scan the system? Well, what account is it using? Admin account. This is considered credential scanning, right? I think I talked about this in this class. Well, actually, I know I did. We talked about false positives, false
Yeah,
negatives.
false negatives.
I said that you want to mitigate false positives, false negatives by using an admin account. And I said that's called an authenticated scan, or sometimes they call it a credentialed scan. Uncredentialed or unauthenticated scan is going to give us a lot of those false positives, false negatives. And I don't want to waste my time looking through a bunch of false positives, false negatives. Okay. Application and web application scanners at the bottom of 233. So Nexus, OpenVOS, those are going to be used for scanning systems, right? Mainly. Now, if we want to scan something that's not physical, like a laptop, desktop, we want to scan an application or a web, then we got to use software specialized for that. Application vulnerability scanning describes a specialized vulnerability scanning method for identifying software application weaknesses. This includes something called static analysis and dynamic analysis. So static analysis is when I'm analyzing code before it's running. This is dynamic. So again, I'm this developer. I'm up late at night. I design some code. I come in the next day. I get somebody to do peer review. It's my coworker. Before anybody accesses my code and uses my code, I perform what's called static analysis. Right? So I basically put it in some type of application, and it's going to scan my code to see if there's any vulnerabilities there. Dynamic analysis is now I'm going to have 20 people log into my software, and I'm going to dynamically analyze it. So as my code is running, as it's being used, or the other word to use is interpreted. Interpreted means it's being read. I perform what's called dynamic analysis. Think about stress testing. You create a server. How do you know if it can hold 20 people? How do you know if it can hold 100 people? How do you know if 1,000 people can log in? Well, I gotta test it while people are actually using it. That's what dynamic is. But static is I'm testing it before people use it. Before I even put it out there in the open, I want to see what's going to go on.
So you test it before it goes to production, basically, or to staging.
That's right. On the next page, 234, package monitoring. Another important capability in application vulnerability assessment practices includes package monitoring. Package monitoring is associated with vulnerability identification because it tracks and assesses the security of third-party software packages. Libraries, dependencies, there's a dependency again, used within an organization to ensure that they are up to date and free from known vulnerabilities that malicious actors could exploit. So this almost sounds the same as what we just talked about, which is that new acronym that now I have to remember, SBOM. It's almost the same thing as the SBOM, because SBOM is going to do that. It's going to inspect to see what's there, but the package monitoring is more of a assessment tool. It's going to assess what is there, if it's secure or not secure. So it's going to assess the dependencies. And it says right here, actually, it says right here, I didn't finish reading because it says SBOM is right here. So let me finish reading. Package monitor is associated with vulnerability identification because it tracks and assesses the security of third-party software packages, libraries, dependencies used in the organization and ensures that they are up to date, free of known vulnerabilities which malicious actors can exploit. Package monitoring is associated with SBOM. Why would it not be? Because it does exactly the same thing. Alright. So I'm going to put here package monitoring, aka SBOM. They do the same thing. In enterprise setting, package monitoring is typically achieved through automated tools and governance, automated software composition analysis or SCA tools, track and monitor software packages, libraries, and dependencies used in the organization. They work continuously, comparing my organization software against various databases known vulnerabilities. That's what a SCA tool does. A SCA tool is a software that's going to say, hey, Ricky, here's your settings, and here's all the applications and configurations running in your environment, and here is what best practice environments look like. So we talked about this gap analysis on Monday. This is where you're at, this is where you should be. SCA tool is going to give me basically two tables so I can compare where my security is and where my security needs to be. That's what the SCA tool is going to do. So there's a database of all the vulnerabilities found in the NVD, National Vulnerability Database. It's actually a website. Go to it real quick. National Vulnerability Database. Look at nvd.org, nvd.nist.gov. So here is the database of all known vulnerabilities. So you can click on here. You can look at all the vulnerabilities, probably type in and search for some of them. You can look at a metric. So here's the CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. This is where we get a scoring system, 1 through 10. 1 through 10. So we can actually see, what is considered to be the highest severity ranking versus what's the lowest severity ranking based on the scoring system. They changed the scoring system a couple times. There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm not going to get into. Definitely not getting into a lot of this stuff, how it's used. That's on-job stuff that you'll get. Let me show you a simpler view of CVSS. So here, simpler view of CVSS would be this. Try this one more time. So here's the same thing, CVSS, but here we can see very simple, 9 through 10 is critical, 7 through 8.9 is high, medium. So really anything here and below, we don't have to fix it.
Okay.
The auditor will say those are acceptable. But anything 6.9 or higher, I'll say higher than 6.9, higher than 6.9, that means it's a higher critical, I gotta fix it. They're not gonna let my company pass the audit until I resolve those issues. Threat feeds. I think we had a question on threat feeds one of these days in Cahoots. Threat feed is what it says, a real-time updated source of potential vulnerabilities. It's the best definition I've ever seen in a book. You ever seen a ticker symbol, right, where you have real-time updates of stock market scrolling across the screen?
Yes, sir.
Imagine that ticker symbol is replaced by all the viruses that are going on in the network. In real time. There's a website out there that actually shows you real time all the attacks that are happening.
What's that website?
I forget. There's a bunch of them, but let me see if I can find that one. This one, it looks like this. Okay. And you can see malware, phishing, and exploit. And you should be able to run it somewhere. There it goes. You see on the left-hand side how it's populating all the attacks that are going on right now. Look where they're all coming from. China. Spain's attacking, Poland's attacking the United Kingdom. Kazakhstan.
Yeah, Kazakhstan. Ooh, China hitting Japan. Ooh, ooh, coming. Ooh, look at that. Ooh.
Exploitation is a lot for America.
Yeah, it gets more crazy. I've seen one where it's just like, it looks like bombs just going off everywhere.
Jeez.
But there's a lot of these types of threat feeds, and when you think about it, think about the news. The news is real time, right? Typically, breaking news, right? This just happened.
Mhm.
So, places we can go to get information on threats would not really be the news, but would be maybe an antivirus vendor's website. They would probably have some real time information about what's going on. That website I just went to
Yeah.
would have some information as well.
Amazing.
But if the exam asks where would we go to get real-time information on threats, actually they won't even use the word threats, probably use it on attacks. Threat feeds is something you would answer. It's a term definition in the book. So they mentioned some common threat feed platforms include the ones that are listed up here. So Alien Vault, I don't know what site I was just on, but these are some of the ones here.
Those checkpoints.
Checkpoint, Recorded Future, Proofpoint, and Abuse.ch.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Threat feeds significantly improve vulnerability identification, providing timely and context about new threats that traditional vulnerability scanning does not provide. Third-party feeds, that's what I was talking about. You want to go to some antivirus website or some other organization that's going to provide real-time information. It's on page 235. Open source proprietary threat feeds provide valuable real-time information on latest cyber threats. Both feed types aggregate data. This is coming from all these different places and puts them in one location. Choice between open source and proprietary threat feeds often comes down to a few things. Open source feeds, such as those provided by CyberThreat or MISP threat sharing platform, are free. Right? However, they may lack depth, breadth, right? Sophistication. Proprietary threat feeds, that means I'm subscribing to something. It's not free, but I'm going to be able to print out reports, get specifications, analyze, filter, things of that nature. All right. I want to add something else here. I'm not sure if I need to. Can we talk about that already?
Yeah.
Based needs. Looking for I6 in the book, see, so that's a website we can actually go to, but see if it is mentioned in the book, we can go see. Let's go to the website. So I6 is a website here, and that's what they're mentioning in my PowerPoint. I'm just trying to see what the heck it is in the book. No, this is not the right I6. I did this last time.
Cybersecurity prayer effort. Yeah.
This is the one.
National Council. Okay.
So it says about I6. I6 can help critical infrastructure owners and operators protect their facilities. Right? Concept was introduced in 1998, and it has 24/7 threat warning and incident reporting capabilities. So basically, it's an organization that people created, and anytime somebody finds a threat or vulnerability, they all share it with one another, basically share it with this organization. This organization shares it to all the parties that have joined this conglomerate, am I right? Can't say that word. This organization, right, to figure out what threats, tax vulnerabilities are going on out in the open. So it's like a frat almost kind of. Right? You join it and you're part of it forever.
Yeah,
right?
tell that. Good point.
Unless you don't pay them dues.
That's true.
Yeah.
Inexpensive too. Yes, sir.
I could not imagine
Yes, sir.
paying a bill for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, once you become after 20 years, you become a life minimum. You don't got to pay no more. So it's 20
Oh,
years.
alright.
Yeah, just because you're 20 years in.
So you retire.
Yeah, they let the young people pay.
Jeez. All right. So next page, we're talking about the I6. I can see that's on the next page, 236. And we went to the website. We read about I6. What would I say about I6? I would say maybe know that this is an organization used for sharing threat information. You know the acronym?
National Council of ISIS, National ISIS.org. Okay.
And like I mentioned already, open source intelligence, that's going to be free, publicly available. Let's go to this one website. They mentioned a tool in here. Some open source intelligent tools include Shodan, right? A lot of these tools we actually use. Maltego, Hacker here, right? Recon, NG, Harvester, we use these tools in certified ethical hacking class.
Can't wait for that.
We actually have access to a lot of those applications.
Okay.
CEH, you can wait for CEH.
Ah, okay.
See, the exam's $1,000
Oh,
just to take the exam. That's
Yeah.
not counting class. That's the voucher.
yeah,
$1,000.
yeah.
It's expensive. And the book, I'm gonna go grab the book before I come back. But the book is 4 of those books.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're two big thick books like this.
Yeah.
I can't get through all the material in a week. I
Oh
can't.
no,
I
no,
can't.
it's gonna take a
Literally
year.
can't. There's no way I can get through material all the week. So we don't do what we're doing here. We go through every single page because I can't.
It's
Too many
possible.
pages.
Yeah,
But Shodan, see if we can get lucky today.
sure.
Shodan.io. You ever seen a website that ends in .io? Yeah.
That's the new words now. I think they're using IO now.
So I'm going to go here, and this website shows all the unsecured devices that are out on the web, and this is a place that will aggregate all the information to one central dashboard. So I'm just looking for webcams that
Okay.
are unsecure,
Okay.
and all of it's not free, but we got lucky today. So we can see a webcam here of somebody's house is unsecure.
Oh my god.
This one's in the dark.
Default, they just put it up.
Whoa.
You might be able to see some
IP address
desktops.
0202. That 200. Okay. Yep. We got.
Oh yeah,
That's
let's look,
good
at
acting.
let's look at where that is.
Okay.
That's in the United States.
That's,
Monticello, whatever city that
oh
is.
wow. Okay.
Anyways, I'm
Man.
looking at
So
the
once you
web.
get that router, brother, you're gonna be like, oh, that's exciting stuff, bro. You're in for a treat, man. Yeah.
So here's some users' desktops
Look
that
at that,
are sitting there,
That's
logged
okay.
in, unsecure. Someone in Russia, Moscow.
Yep, Gambia, Germany, Stuttgart, Germany, Miami.
Here we can actually see a person's face. Kelly Broom.
Huh.
Of course, and John Broom, so these are definitely home users. And I'd probably go to Facebook and look them up and be like, hey, is this you? Look what I found you.
And they got TLS version 1, 2, and 1.2. Wow.
1.2. So 1.3 is a secure one.
Mhm.
That's what we're using currently. But I don't know if that's what's causing this to pop up on this website. We're using Windows 11, which we definitely know is the more secure of the two. Something was able to scrape and find everything. Anyways, so that's what Shodan is. Right? And Harvester is even worse than that. Harvester is not a GUI interface like that. In Harvester, you can't go to a website because you've got to download software to use the Harvester and Recon and Maltego. But they're going to do what? Go out and gather, collect evidence that's publicly available. They scour the web. That's what Google does. It does that scraping. You type in a keyword, it scrapes the internet for that keyword, and it gives you a couple pages back of top results. At deep dark web, same thing. We use this Tor browser to get access to it. This is where illegal credit card information is sold. We talked about this already. I'm going to skip on that. Other vulnerability assessment methods. Did we talk about bug bounty?
No.
I didn't talk about. Okay, I must have talked about it in the last class. So I used to follow this lady on LinkedIn, and she would post randomly about getting awarded money, $5,000, $10,000 for finding bugs in other companies' software.
Okay.
So when she found it, ethically, it's our responsibility to report these bugs to the company, and she would report these bugs, and the company would reward her a bug bounty, right? And some companies out there, we even post on LinkedIn, hey, we're running a bug bounty program. Look at our software. You find any bugs, we'll give you a reward. So that's what bug bounty is.
Fascinating. I love that.
Pen testing. We have this white, black, gray box testing. See, black box testing means I don't know anything about your environment. Essentially, if I'm doing a black box test, I want to simulate what it would be like for a hacker sitting outside my environment to hack it. They would know nothing. White box test means I know everything about your environment. The only way I can know everything about the environment is I have to work there. So to perform a white box test, that you're simulating an insider threat. In gray box, you'd be given some information, but not everything. You have the IP address, but you don't have anything else. So some information, not everything. Gray box. Auditing on the last page. Did we talk about PCI DSS in this class yet? Doesn't sound like we did.
No, payment cards, credit cards.
You guys
No.
are dead quiet.
No, I didn't.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Auditing. Auditing is the concept of a third-party entity coming to the organization to assess the security posture of your environment. Why do we want a third party? Because if I work with Ricky and I audit the security of Ricky, well, me and him are boys. I'm gonna let things slide. Yeah, he went to the bathroom, he left his cat card in there, so what? He'll be right back. An auditor has what's called unbiasedness, right? I understand he went to the bathroom, but he's not supposed to leave his cat card in there. We're gonna have to ding him. Right, you guys failed this audit. So we want somebody on the outside to perform an audit to get this unbiased. Some audits have to adhere to some types of regulations and laws. The GDPR, which is in the book, is ways in which EU citizens, European Union citizens, have a right to be forgotten. So their data can be erased from a system.
Oh, wow.
If I'm born and I'm a citizen of EU, I can call T-Mobile right now and say, delete my data. And legally, because of the GDPR, they have to. If they don't do it, they get in trouble, legally. So most companies, since they don't know if their clientele is European Union or European citizens, they all abide by the GDPR. Whether they like it or not, they have to make sure they abide by it. HIPAA, we know, is hospital, and then PCI DSS, that's there for payment card industry. So I had an audit where they were auditing to see if we were PCI DSS compliant. I told you guys at the company we weren't, because people were writing down credit card numbers, right? I told you all the things that we went through, group policies, to try to get our environment PCI DSS compliant, which we finally did. But PCI DSS is just a law that states when you're taking credit card payments, you have to do it in a secure way. Right? Not specifically in the phone, but you can't write the numbers down. So I'm gonna write here, third party, unbiased. We have some laws, GDPR, they want us to talk about, HIPAA. I already talked about HIPAA like 4 times, I'm gonna write HIPAA again, PCI, DSS. D, common vulnerability, so just on this website, common vulnerabilities and exposure. We're just on that website, I'm gonna go back to it. CVE, Common Vulnerability and Exposure. So this website that we were at, CVE MITRE, right, already been here. CVE, Common Vulnerability Enumeration is the website. This website gives me a list of all the vulnerabilities. It's kind of like the NBD that we just went to. So if I search CVE list, here I can type in any platform to find out how many vulnerabilities that platform has currently. I'm going to type in Microsoft. I'm going to hit submit. And Microsoft right now has 7,170 vulnerabilities. We can see the CVE, we can see the year, and we can see the code for that particular vulnerability.
Wow,
You can
yeah.
click on it, and you can actually read about the vulnerability. Sometimes it'll give you references on how to mitigate
GitHub
against the
too.
vulnerability.
Yeah, it's got GitHub. So good.
So this is a whole job position. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of the word right. You could be a vulnerability assessor,
Yeah.
and this would be what your job is. It's not going to be. I mean, nowadays you got to be a jack of all trades,
Right.
especially at MSP.
Right.
You got to know a little bit of networking. You got to know about how to perform vulnerability assessments. You got to create security policies, documents. You got to train people coming in. You got to hire people. You got
That's
to
right.
you got to do everything. Build computers,
You're right.
rack them, and
Stack 'em.
them out.
Mm.
Troubleshoot cables.
Yep.
So
Jack of all
that's
trades,
like,
master of all.
yeah, that's like 12 jobs right there. But they
Mhm.
want to hire you and pay you less than what they would pay one person to do that one specific job.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why I'm out of the corporate world, because they want you to do too much and pay you too little. Right?
So,
All I got to do is worry about teaching.
yeah.
That's it. My job, teach.
Mhm.
But there's the website there that, as being part of an audit, you would go to this website, right? Because you might run that vulnerability assessment and you might see the vulnerability and it might give you the name, and you might want to go here to read more about the vulnerability. Give me more information about this vulnerability so I can remediate this issue.
Roger that.
Alright. So that's what they're talking about here on 243. We saw common vulnerability enumeration, we see the CVE, we see the year, and we see the number. Right?
Right.
We're all on their website. We already went to nvdnist.gov, so we already looked at that. And we looked at the CVSS score. Right? You can see the rankings there
Mhm.
in the book. But here on this site, it's right here at the top right hand corner. Right, CVE, we see NVD here, and here's a CVSS score. So that's what I just went to earlier. I was showing you the scoring system. Right?
Yes.
Now, it could be very mean of CompTIA, but I've seen it before, where they could ask you, according to the CVSS, what ranking is median? And you would have to know the numbers, 4 to 6.9. That would be very mean. I have seen them ask it not on a Security Plus exam, but on a Server Plus exam, right? But CompTIA, since they write all these different exams, they like to mix and match questions from different exams on different exams. I've yet to see it, but don't say I didn't show you.
Gotcha.
Right.
I'm looking.
But I've yet to see it. You'll see no homework questions. So as long as you do your homework, you should be fine. But the moment I see that, I'll be adding it to homework. I've yet to see it. What else did I want to say here? Oh, another question you can see about CVSS. What tool is utilized to help prioritize which vulnerabilities I address first? CVSS. I'm prioritizing critical vulnerabilities based on a score. Right, so this allows me, that's a homework question. That's a homework question. Here at the bottom, they talk about false positives, false negatives. We've already talked about that. We know that we want to use authenticated scans to reduce those. Alright, so here it is in the book, but we definitely went on a tangent one day and we actually talked about that. So I've already in detail talked about what that is. Vulnerability analysis on the next page, 245. It's still an assessment. It's the same thing. I'm analyzing your vulnerabilities. Vulnerability analysis is critical to support several key aspects of the organization's cybersecurity strategy. including prioritization, vulnerability classifications, considerations of exposure, and impact of risk and tolerance. So here to talk about prioritization, that's going to be what I address first. Classification. Analyze aids in vulnerability classification, categorizing vulnerabilities based on their characteristics, such as, is this classified as a system vulnerability? Is it classified as an application vulnerability? Right? And the impact. Is it going to affect everybody? Is it going to affect one person? Classification can help clarify the scope and nature. And we'll put here system type and the impact. So it's affecting the Exchange server. And the Exchange server affects everybody. So impact would be the entire organization. Based on that classification, I'm going to classify this as maybe high priority, right? And I need to resolve that first. CPSS. Okay. Exposure factor, EF. Probably we haven't got to the formula yet. Exposure factor is a percentage. About how much damage will be incurred to the systems if this vulnerability was to compromise the environment. Layman's terms. Hurricane strikes this building, how much damage is going to happen? 30%, 40%, 10%? That's what exposure factor is.
Gotcha.
So I don't think I want to write impact here because I have impact below. So impact is impact. I can't really expand on the impact, gang. The impact of the pandemic, it caused businesses to close down. But the impact of the power outage might just cause people to be inconvenient until power is restored, right? Or impact of the printer running out of ink. These are low, minimal impacts, where other things are going to be a high impact that can cause a business to close down. So that's what they're talking about with impact. Data breaches will have a huge impact on a company. I always talk about Facebook, and one of the things about the impact of the data breach was Facebook's reputation, right? And that's really hard to repair, a reputation. Facebook can pay billions of dollars in fines, but to repair when people are in the streets saying cancel Facebook, right? That's tough.
Yeah.
Right? Their stock, by the way, you should have gotten stock when Facebook was when that happened. Their stock has since then 6 times. Let me show you their stock chart and when they got compromised. Meta stock market, because now it's Facebook. You see it's $467. But look, when it crashed right here, it was $90 a share. This is when it crashed. So if you bought at $90 a share, you would have almost 5 times, almost 4 times. But right here, they were talking about splitting the stock because they're telling Zuckerberg that our company is crashing and burning. What are you going to do? And Zuckerberg's like, I'm not doing anything. He's like, it'll rebound. And yeah, it freaking rebound, and higher than it's ever been. Yeah. So, stock market, I want to get into trading, not really stock market. Stock market is too volatile, especially if you're trying to get into companies that are already at a freaking all-time high. The pandemic would have been a great time to get in, 2020, because you see everything pretty much at that point in time. Yeah, when was the pandemic? 2020?
Yeah, 2020, March.
So shoot, even at the pandemic, it was 149. So they really crashed at that breach. At that breach, Meta crashes right here. It says right here, 24% that day. That's because of the data breach. So hope and pray it happens again, right? This time I'm putting my life savings in. But yeah, that's a pretty solid stock track, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
You know what's better? Mickey D's. No, look at their stock. Look at their stock chart, man. Look at that. That's amazing. I worked McDonald's was my first stock I ever bought. I worked at McDonald's in 1996. Right? 1996. So that's all the way here. I put my first $1,000 in McDonald's stock. Yeah, $15 a share then.
Jesus.
I know. Yep.
And now, two things before $300.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Investing. That's the only way you can make money, by
That's
the
the only
way.
way you make money now.
Is that you invest in your money make money. You can work all day long, but you gotta invest your money to
Can't
save.
retire till you about there, 70 years old now, they say, right?
I don't know.
I know they haven't asked it, but
I know people that are still. My parents are retired. They're both retired, but I know people that are still working in their 70s. I don't want to be that person. I can't. I want to. I see my parents and they're just enjoying life. I would feel so bad if my mom and dad right now they wake up and go to work
Mm.
because they don't want to do that.
my dad retired at 48.
Nice.
Yeah, like
See, my dad was in the military.
He did military too.
Yeah, my dad he got he's a VA.
Oh, both
Yeah.
congratulations.
I wonder which VA you work at. I wonder if you met my dad.
I'm at the VA indicator.
Oh no, he don't go out there. He probably goes to one probably closer to Marietta area,
What branch? Air Force?
Air Force.
Okay. What base was y'all stationed at?
My dad, I don't know. This was
Oh, you went
that's
with
in the
him?
40s.
Oh, okay.
50s and 60s. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was in Vietnam and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, my
Yeah.
dad too. Wow. Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
Agent Orange.
Thank you for
Put
service.
Put him on the VA, and then his buddy
Yeah,
that
dad
was
too.
also in the VA told my dad about the VA. So now my dad gets like a freaking massive paycheck every month.
4,000.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
him.
massive.
Tell him thank you for his service.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
100%. They was automatic. They did it. They stopped it for years. They wasn't giving them the percentage for Agent Orange,
Uh-huh.
and then maybe like I'm gonna say 6 years ago, they finally pushed it through. So any veteran who was in Vietnam,
Yeah.
and they get 100% automatically. The only thing they're not doing is back paying because they at one point they was back paying veterans for the Agent Orange. So if you got out of, I think when was Vietnam 60s,
63 through 73.
1963, and then you get your Agent Orange disability today, they'll back pay you from today all the way to the day you got out. And it was too much, so they stopped that and was only paying you for 100% for the day that you requested
Going
for
forward.
Agent Orange.
Wow.
But some people
That's a
got
lot of
like
money
some
though. Yeah, Congress.
300, 500, probably $1 million checks.
Wow.
Get unpaid, paid for 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. A lot of tax
You
dollars.
see,
huh?
you see those checks go out.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I
that's
tell a
crazy.
lot of people when I talk to them, like, I was like, hey, just go apply because it's free money. Like
It's free
OPP
money.
said,
Yeah.
it's free money. You know, and
Yep.
you deserve, you earned it.
Yep.
Get it.
So on your D214, you good.
A lot of people like, man, I don't. It's other people that deserve it more than me. How do you know?
Yeah.
You know, how do you know? Because we as men, we push off our experiences. We like, oh, it wasn't that bad. You know,
Yeah.
I went through it, but in your brain, you done hid it, and it was a bad situation. But you done told yourself that it wasn't that bad, and you done pushed it to the background so many years, and now, it wasn't that bad. I was, man, everybody go through it, but it's
Yeah.
not that way.
Mm.
Until
For
you
free
you
money,
you
man.
Get that PTSD, bro. Like, you just don't know. You done been through some stuff. You sit down and start talking to them people, they start telling you, you might start crying.
Oh no, I go to meetings, man. I go to my meetings.
Bottom of 245, environmental variables. Several environmental variables play a significant role in influencing vulnerability analysis. One of the primary environmental variables is an organization's IT infrastructure. That's basically setting up of the hardware, right? Things in the environment. It could be locks, it could be fences, it could be cameras, it could be two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
These companies' diversity, complexity, and age can affect the number and types of vulnerabilities present. For instance, legacy systems may have known unpatched vulnerabilities, while new emerging technologies might introduce new unknown vulnerabilities. External threat landscape is another crucial environment. Prevalence of certain types of attacks or activities of specific threat actors can affect the likelihood of a particular vulnerability being exposed. For example, ransomware on the rise, medical industries, and vulnerabilities that are exploited as part of those attacks must be prioritized in that sector. So environmental variables is essentially talking about everyone's environment's different. Now, military's environment is way different than ATG. You can walk into ATG, you can walk into a classroom, you can sit down at the desk, and these computers have passwords on them. So where that could be a huge vulnerability in a base, we don't want somebody just walking in, sitting at a desk, and logging in to a system. Right? So everyone's environment's different.
You're right.
I said military versus a library. You know, libraries are public. And this gets to our risk appetite, right? I wanted that term still in the book, but I'm going to talk about risk appetite. Probably still is in the book. Risk tolerance, or sometimes they call it risk appetite, means that everyone is able to accept different amount of risk. Like I said, have a risk appetite that is very low here at ATG because none of our passwords or none of our systems are password protected. We don't store PII in our systems. A hospital's risk tolerance or risk appetite is very high. They can't risk losing power for a minute because people are going to die. They're on ventilation systems. Hospitals can't risk PHI being compromised because they're going to be sued because of HIPAA. So their risk appetite or their tolerance for risk is a lot higher. They're not willing to accept the same risk like I would be able to accept here at ATG. So how do we mitigate these vulnerabilities? Risk, likelihood that a threat compromises vulnerability. Number one, patch, right? Patching, updating our systems. Patching is one of the most straightforward, effective remediation practices. Involves applying updates. Helps prevent attackers from exploiting known vulnerabilities. A patch management program focuses on regularly installing software patches to address vulnerabilities. So this patch management, I do want to mention here, means that we want to patch management. We want to test our patches, and we could automate our updating, but we could do it manually. But who really wants to go around to 200 machines and manually update the machines? So I kind of want to automate that. The only bad thing about automating is, are you able to test it? Because if I update all the machines at 9 p.m. at night when people go home for the day, I come into work the next day and that patch actually messed up something in the systems, and now nobody can log into the network because the patch messed things up. I should have tested that prior to me updating all the systems en masse at 9 p.m. Update this little small group, make sure that small group's able to work, and then the next night we'll say, all right, go and push the patch out to everybody. So that's what proper patch management does. Testing. Insurance, cybersecurity insurance. Yeah, everything has insurance. Of course, we could get insurance if our data has been compromised. Insurance agencies will pay out on that. Cyber insurance is another factor of vulnerability response. While insurance doesn't mitigate vulnerabilities, it can provide financial protection. All right, ransomware, things like that. Segmentation we've already talked about. What's this going to do? Mitigate against all of my environment getting infected. So if my network's segmented, that means half my systems will be down. Real true life story. ATG, all of our classrooms are on a different network. So if you guys get a virus on the machines in here, it's not going to affect the machines in all of the classrooms here. If they do something silly in that classroom, which could happen, they install random stuff in that classroom, it stays in that classroom. Yeah. Oh, that's what the network engineer job responsibility is to do, to segment the network.
That's what we do, VLANs, baby.
Compensating controls. We talked about this already. A compensating control is a lock on top of a lock. So if one thing breaks, we have another thing there as backup. So fault tolerance could be compensating as an example, or eliminating what's called a single point of failure. Right? That's like you having one lock on your house. I got two at a minimum, right? The door one and then the little deadbolt that sits on the top. So if the door one breaks, I got the deadbolt. I'm not going to write anything there. I mean,
So risk appetite's on page 445, just let you know.
It is? Okay, thank you so much. So, see, teaching ahead again. Exceptions and exemptions. Describe scenarios where specific vulnerabilities cannot be remediated due to business criticality, technical constraints, and cost constraints. We'll talk about this one. In these cases, the risk is accepted. So we talked about, okay, I'm going to accept the risk. Accepting the risk means that I'm aware of it. But I just don't want to pay the money it's going to take to mitigate that risk. Why? Because the device costs $20, and to secure that device costs $1,000. I'm okay, I'm going to accept that risk, right? So there are exceptions and exemptions sometimes when it comes to risk too, because I might have a system in my environment that's running XP. Now we know XP doesn't get updates, but there's software installed on a machine that only runs on XP, and it's critical to my business operating. So I'm just gonna have to accept that risk that I need that software running on XP until the software company comes out with something else that runs on Windows 11. I'm just gonna have to run it.
Okay.
And accept that risk. That's something I would accept. Exemption. Don't worry about that system. We know it's a risk, but we gotta deal with it. Let me give you a second here. Exception and exemptions. Accepting risk. Alright, validation. So validation is what we talk about again, vulnerability assessment, scanning the system, and then we gotta validate. Is that risk actually there? Is that vulnerability actually there? That's when we get what's called a true positive. It identified something, and we validated, and it checked out that that vulnerability does exist. So for example, Ricky, I scan the system, it says, that system has a weak password. True story, actually, in a real environment. We had an environment, I scanned 250 machines, all of them had a high risk, like green bone. So I was like contemplating, should I quit today or should I put my 2 weeks in? So I'm like, I gotta fix this issue. And it's 250 machines and I don't know where to start. But I started with, let me click on it, let me read what the vulnerability is, because if all of the vulnerabilities are the same, I can fix one, it fixes all of them. So the vulnerability said that it had a default admin account set up. So Windows, when you purchase Windows, there's a default admin account set up with a default password. I Googled what's the default password, and I tried it on one of the systems, and it logged me in. So I'm a MSP, and I'm basically contracted to that company to support their environment. So this was already set up before I got there. So I contacted one of the guys that were there, and I said, did you guys know when you guys initially set your machines up, you left the admin account on there by default? And the guy was like, no, we didn't. It's like, yes, you did. Go to any system downstairs and use this password. He went and tried it, it worked. I was like, yeah, well, our vulnerability scan is showing that's a severe vulnerability, and we can't proceed with the audit until you guys fix it. I'm not going to 250 machines and deleting or disabling that account. So he had to create a group policy, and that's what the group policy does. It goes out and pushes whatever changes that you've made to a group of machines. So after it ran, I scanned it again. We still got a medium risk. It wasn't red, it was in the orange, but that's acceptable. Auditor is like, all right, let's move to the next thing.
Awesome.
All right. They talk about reporting at the bottom, and when we get these reports, it does talk about the CVSS is used to prioritize which ones we're going to resolve first, and these reports need to be kept private. We shouldn't be giving these reports out to anybody. Right? These reports getting breached could cause our organization to now be vulnerable, especially if everyone knows where our risks reside. Alright, lesson 9 talking about evaluating network capabilities and network scanning. So here they talk about this term called a secure baseline. Here's the baseline word. Did we have this in Cahoots this morning? Baseline? I think it was one of the bonus questions that we had, right? Baseline. So a baseline is the secure starting point, right? That's what a secure baseline is. It's basically saying that when I set this machine up, it's going to have this, and this on it, at a minimum, right? And all the machines in my network need to have that same secure baseline, a secure starting point. Now, if I don't know how to configure things securely, how to get a secure starting baseline, right, and have a secure configuration, guess what? There's frameworks, there's guides out there that can walk me through it. Center for Internet Security, CIS, is a baseline. It's a guide. It's a framework. You go to the website, cissecurity.org, I think is what it is. Yep, cissecurity.org. This is a test question. It's going to be acronym. CIS is one of the answers in your homework. Right? You'll probably see it in homework. What is this used for? It says here, CIS benchmark is safeguard IT systems against cyber threats with more than 100 configuration guidelines. That's what we're talking about right here. Secure configuration guidelines. So we can use this tool as a way to configure something secure. For example, it says across 25 vendors. So Henry's over here setting up a Cisco device or maybe a Juniper device, and he doesn't know how to configure it in a secure way for that particular vendor. He can go to CIS benchmark, he can look up a vendor, and it will show him a guide with more than 100 configurations on how to configure that device in the most secure way. Don't leave it set up default, configure, change this, 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 and this. So CIS is a configuration guide. And again, that's a test question. You'll see it in your homework if you have not yet already. STIGs is what the military uses. That's their framework. So Department of Defense, that's the military.
Okay.
All right? So that's specific for them. I've not seen a question yet where STIGs is an answer, but most people in my class who are attending because they work in the help desk field and they just do a Security Plus, they've all heard of STIGs. So if I have a class of 20 people, there's like 2 or 3 in the class that are like, yeah, we use STIGs. And then vendors. I just call the vendor, and the vendor is going to provide guides, best practices for me as well. Right? So I can call Cisco. I can call Microsoft. I can call Amazon. Amazon is the vendor for Ring, right? Amazon probably has some support for all of their hardware tools. Several tools and technologies, reading the last paragraph in 252, are available to help manage, deploy, and measure compliance with established secure baselines. Configuration management tools such as Puppet, Chef, Ansible, and Microsoft Group policies allow organizations to automate and deploy configurations. So this is new for Security Plus 701. We have not talked about Puppet, Chef, and Ansible yet. Let me see if that's in my, oh, it's right here. All right. So yeah, we need to know that these tools are what are called scripting tools. They're automating tools. So in essence, what this does, Ricky, is that I can use Puppet, Chef, or Ansible, and I can configure one machine, and I can tell, it's called a Puppet Master. We don't have to know all this for the exam, but you learn this in CCNA. I tell the Puppet Master to push all these configuration changes to all of these machines in my environment. So I make a configuration change in one system, and I tell that system to send that configuration change to all the other systems in my network.
Okay.
Right? So I don't have to do it manually. The software's doing it. It's automating the task. Right? I create a script, but that's application, this software, Puppet, Chef, Ansible, they're all different applications can be used to do that. Some of them are pull models and some of them are push models, but that's above the scope of this course.
So to the question I was asking yesterday about the virtual machines, would that be something that you can use to create the 40 ones that you had said?
You could,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, there's probably lots of different tools out there that could do that.
Okay.
Automates infrastructure as a service is what it's called. Actually, it wasn't called infrastructure as a service. It's called IAC. Infrastructure as, heck, I can't remember the acronyms now. You got me off guard here. No, infrastructure as a service is IaaS. IAC is what we talked about yesterday. I know mine's going blank. Hang on one second. Infrastructure is a code.
Okay.
Infrastructure is a code. That's how you automate creating multiple virtual machines. And yes, these Puppet Chef Ansible could be used as infrastructure as a code.
Okay.
All right. SCAP. For monitoring compliance, security content automation protocol SCAP compliant tools like OpenSCAP can assess and verify the system's adherence to baselines. A SCAP tool is almost like a SCA tool. It's going to go out and it's going to look to see, is your system up to date? Is it compliant? Is it meeting all the recommended configuration settings? Furthermore, CIS provides a type of SCAP tool called CIS CAT. This is designed to assess system configurations for a secure baseline. And SCAP Compliance Checker, SCC, is a tool maintained by the DISA, used to measure compliance with STIGs. So this one's going to be used for more for military compliance. Where this is going to be used for just corporate configuration. Baselining. No, I'm not going to use the word corporate. I'm just going to say system. I don't want people to think that that's just going to be used for corporate system configuration baselining. But yes, the SCAP Compliance Checker and the STIGs that we talked about is going to be used for military STIGs. DoD. Because there's different types of security hardening configurations for a military machine versus a normal machine. Right. Hardening concepts. So hardening is a concept of what changing default configurations and making sure that we implement some type of secure configuration. That's what the word hardening is. Excuse me. Sometimes I use the term resilience. All of these concepts here, gang, there's nothing here we have not yet talked about. Right? We talked about nothing secure by default. We talked about disabling unnecessary services. That means closing ports that we shouldn't have open. Right? More doors I have open, the more vectors I have to gain access to the network. Using secure management protocols. Is Telnet secure? We should know this. This is the SIM we're going to talk about today.
Telnet's not secure.
What was the one that replaced Telnet?
SSH.
SSH. We got to know this. This is a SIM we're going to talk about today, right? Actually, the SIM says to disable vulnerable management protocols and to enable secure management protocols. That's part of the SIM. So we're going to be looking at a firewall, and on the firewall, we have to look, and if it shows that Telnet's being used, we have to change it from Telnet to SSH.
Okay. So,
If you got questions, ask.
I was gonna say Telnet's gonna use the entire system.
So Telnet is used to allow us to remote into and manage a device.
I was gonna say the entire firewall system, like it's an entire
No,
week.
I wouldn't say the entire. That's just a vulnerability.
Okay.
Yeah, that's used for management. It's
Okay.
used
You'll
for
learn in your
logging into the
CCNA.
device.
You'll learn that.
Yeah. All right, and we talked about ACLs. We talked about how you read these in order of progression from top to bottom. Last rule is an implicit deny, but again, that's a technical control type. We talked about the purpose of logging and monitoring, right? Because we can go back in time and perform detective accounting mechanisms. We talked about the importance of something called NTP with logging, Network Time Protocol, port 123. I can't go back and see what happened yesterday if I don't know what time the system's showing. My system's showing 1985, January 1st. Yes, you can change the date and time on your system. So we have to make sure that it synchronizes that date and time to a specific time server. That's what NTP is, a specific time server. We talked about port security. I think we know generically that you can't come and plug your computer into any port. Right? We have this MAC address that's associated with port security. We talked about the longer the password, the more secure it is. We talked about yesterday physical security: bollards, air gaps, fences, lights, man trap. Yeah, so here just hounding on what I just basically talked about.
Yes.
So same thing. Server, hardware, operating systems, we talked about all this stuff too. Don't leave default credentials, disable, yeah, I mean, you always say, least privilege, don't give them more access than they need. Use firewalls, IDS, use secure configuration, we just talked about this. CIS or STIGs if we're in the military. Strong access control, that's going to be two-factor authentication. Enable logging and monitor, just talked about. Antiviruses, prevent, detect, correct, and physical security again, just talked about. What's the difference between a fat WAP and a thin WAP? You know the difference between a fat WAP and a thin WAP?
One's a web-based firewall, but one's a fat, one's thin.
That's honestly my first time hearing.
When the water's access point, that's the one that's okay. That one.
You don't know the difference between a fat WAP though and a thin WAP?
Nah, I've seen that.
What's WAP stand for?
Wireless access
Wireless access.
point.
And you had a dirty mind yesterday, bro. What happened today?
My apologies. I ain't gonna count. I didn't get no sleep last night. I went to this girl house. She sucked all my energy. I'm tired because all I do is
No, you didn't hear what I said?
I know.
No. You hear what I said?
What I had a dirty night yesterday.
Yeah. Today, I thought you would get it, but you didn't get it today. Well, you still don't get it.
I'm thinking wet ate something, wet ass something.
No, you.
Yeah, we are. You know the song. Come on,
He
black
knows.
female song. Come on, shoot,
knows.
wet, blank, blank.
You know,
Yeah.
He knows. I
I'll
thought
tell
you would have got
I'll tell you,
it.
Yeah, that's like-
I'm trained.
Yeah, come on.
She
Was it Cardi B or was it
Cardi B.
Yeah,
Cardi
yeah.
B.
She didn't give her no cash. She tossed and turned all night.
Mhm.
And I went to her house to get some sleep. I said, maybe I get more sleep.
Yeah.
I went to her, I ain't get no
You
sleep.
got your homework done.
I got my homework done. That's why I was tired.
You didn't
When
get
I
no-
went over there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get some sleep, get some coochie, revitalize myself, come to work. None of it. So
None
now
of
I'm a little irritated this morning.
Yeah, you messed up.
She
You messed
called
her whole
me
day
and told me,
up.
I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I didn't even answer. Don't even talk to me.
That's too funny.
It is.
Well, there is a difference. I'm just saying that. Let's look up. Let's see if I can find it. I gotta be careful when I type this into Google, because I can't type in fat WAP. I don't know what's gonna pop up. I'm typing fat wireless
Okay.
access point versus a thin wireless access point. We might be able to see them. My goal here is I want to show you a picture. I had found a link that actually was selling, because we did every access point nowadays is a fat WAP, meaning a fat WAP is the primary device that we actually configure that would allow for us to have a wireless name, security settings, port security, network segmentation, and if the fat wireless access point goes down, the thin ones will go down with it,
Okay.
right? So that's your single point of failure. So I can't find one here. Maybe if I go to shopping, I might be able to find one here.
They say a thin one is controlled by a wireless LAN controller too.
Yes, that's what a fat WAP is. Yeah, I know the definition. That's not what I'm trying to look up here. I'm trying to look up a picture so I can actually show you guys. I can actually show you guys. But I'm just going to go here to mesh network. And what we're going to see is probably all the same size. Alright.
YouTube.
So, as you can see here, all these access points are the same size, but imagine 20 years ago when these access points came out, there was a fat one, which is a controller, which is what he's saying, because it controls the thin access points. So one of these was actually physically bigger than the other, and that was the main one you would log into to make all your configuration changes. So I might put that one in my living room, and then my other thin ones I put in upstairs and one downstairs, because the mesh network is just used to propagate wireless signal throughout my entire house.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is that if that one in the middle of my house, if that one died, the thin ones upstairs and downstairs go down too.
Yeah.
Now, if you buy a mesh network, all of these devices are considered controllers. They're all independent of one another.
Wow.
So you can set all of these up, and if one goes down, doesn't mean your entire network is down too.
That's a blessing. Wow. That's good.
So that's the difference between the two. I know they haven't talked about it yet. I'm sure it's going to pump in the butt. But one of the hardest things is where do we place these devices? Where do you think you place your wireless access point in your house, Ricky?
Wireless access points.
Where do you think you place it?
On TV.
In this room, where do you think you place a wireless access point?
Up in the roof.
Where? In the back of the room, in the front of the room, over here, over
Closer to
there?
where I can get the best signal, probably.
Okay, so you got it closest to where you get the best signal. Now, if you put it over here, that's going to suck signal in the back corner. So you got to put it right in the middle. Placement. That's what I'm trying to say. So we use a device called a site survey to determine where should you place your wireless access point. So you can actually download like an app on your phone, and you can kind of walk through your house, and it'll tell you to get the best coverage. We recommend you place it in this hallway, and it'll show the wireless signal propagating and say, hey, all rooms in your house will be able to have Wi-Fi if you place it right here. So you're basically surveying your location, and you're deciding where's the best place to place these access points.
That's beautiful. Wow.
So I had a real life job where I actually had to set up wireless access points in a warehouse. That's an access point, yeah. Those are older ones, yeah. Oh yeah. So you could barely see the difference. It's slightly bigger than the thin APs. I had a picture. It's probably still was in my notes. Does it say Orbi in my notes? If you look up fat, thin, do Control F in my notes. Oh, okay, yeah, there's probably a link there with Orbi. You can look up that Orbi. It's like an Orbi 300 AC. Not that I'm remembering it, maybe I can look it up myself. Orbi 300 AC wireless access points. Yeah. It's a 300 though, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a 300. Let's see. It looked like this, and one of these is a little bit bigger, like slightly bigger. Like this is the fat one right here, and then the other thin one would be about that size. So imagine one of the devices being in the middle, slightly bigger. All right, so you can kind of see it, but now, like I said, they don't do that any longer. So it doesn't make a difference. You're not going to be able to find a mesh network that comes with fat and thin. Everything's controller. Heat maps, and I do have a picture of this in the notes, but heat maps, I'm going to show here real quick. It's something you do after a site survey. So here you see this picture where we see that there are 3 access points. One in this particular room, in this office, one here, and one here. The heat map showing how the coverage propagates. You can see right here, it's pretty cold. And people here are complaining they don't have good signal. They've got 1 bar. So a heat map will tell me where should I place another device to increase the coverage signal in that area. When we set up wireless, we got to make sure we do it in a secure way, so we're not going to use a weak protocol encryption. We talked about weak protocols like MD5, DES, right? HTTP, Telnet. Wireless has protocols too. Open means that we have no encryption at all. It means anybody can connect to our wireless. That's gone, long been gone. That's when wireless first came out. A lot of people set their devices up, and you could drive down the street and you see a bunch of open. I've not seen an open in the last 10 years for somebody's wireless network. So I think by default nowadays, it just sets it up secure. But a long time ago, by default, it was just open.
I think I kind of remember that.
WEP is a protocol that replaced it. It was weak. I don't like the order of this. I'm already gonna remove that and put this in a better order, because that's that's going to lead to confusion. And we'll put this at the bottom. Try this again. WPS. Because it's not a protocol, it's a button. So I'll show you what the WPS is in a second. WEP was replaced by WPA, WPA was replaced by WPA2, and now we're at WPA3. So from least secure to most secure, that's what we see here. That's what you need to know for the exam. Now getting to this. This stands for Wireless Protected Setup. It's a button. It's not a protocol. It's a physical button.
Yep.
WPS button.
Wireless protected setup. Yeah.
So this is for those people that were not technical, that did not know how to set up a wireless device. They would press this button on the back of the router, right? Because I'm in shopping. I'm like, why am I not seeing the button? Here, you can see a picture here. It says WPS. It was a button on the back. What this did is it set up your device in a secure way. This is not secure because it's susceptible to something called a brute force attack. So we don't use it any longer. And a lot of devices now that you buy, they don't come with a button. I highlighted something called pre-shared key. The reason I highlighted this is because we're going to talk about a SIM this afternoon about configuring what's called a PSK, pre-shared key. So it's an acronym. It's an acronym-based exam. All a PSK is a password. So if I go to your house and ask you what your wireless password is, or I could ask you what your pre-shared key is, or I could ask you what your PSK is, same thing. Alright? And when we set up our passwords in our homes, they should be nice and secure passwords. Uppercase, lowercase, character, number, and at least 8 characters in length.
Gotcha. Yep.
Mine's not that. Mine's a lot simpler than that because I got family and they want to connect and they don't have time to type in a crazy password that I can't remember. So I got to kind of make it something memorable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, that was why do they don't have a password link on the routers for your internet? There's no link or nothing. I mean, like the time that you can have it, because my password been the same for like
You could change
8 years.
That's because you don't know how to go in and change it.
I know how
You
to
can change it.
I know how to change it, but it's not a thought of mine to change it. It just crossed my mind now since we were talking about the WPS. But
Who set up your password?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Mhm.
Okay. So what's your question then?
Why does it have like?
Why does it tell them to
have a link?
update it? Like,
Oh,
why does it give a
Oh,
timeout?
why does it have a timer to say change your password?
Yeah, time to
Right.
change your
Yeah,
password.
it's not the same as a user account. I mean, it's your personal thing. It's
Yeah.
on you if you want to change
It's not gonna, like we talked about
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah.
But couldn't they hack into like the Wi-Fi and then get onto my? Okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I misunderstood you there. A NAC. A NAC is a network access control. You will see the acronym. I need you guys to start getting used to these acronyms. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
type NAC here.
Yeah.
They're spelling too much stuff out here for you guys in these slides. But it's going to check to see if your laptop's healthy. If your laptop's healthy, it will let you in the network. If it thinks your laptop's unhealthy, meaning that it doesn't have the most recent patches and updates, it has weak configurations, the NAC will send it to a remediation center. It won't give it access. The remediation center is going to update and patch your system to get it up to date, get it mitigating against vulnerabilities. It sends it back to the NAC. The NAC's going to check to say, hey, are you healthy now? If it's healthy, the NAC's going to say, all right, I'll give you access into the network. There's 2 types of NACs. There's one called the agent-based NAC, where we permanently install that software on the laptop that remains persistent on the server or the laptop. That means every time you turn your laptop on at home, the agent is going to scan your laptop to make sure it's up to date. And you guys remember I said there's sometimes I can't install software, so I'll have something called the agent-less. That's going to be my cell phone. It'll temporarily scan my phone, make sure it's up to date. But the moment I disconnect my phone, that software is going to be removed. It's called non-persistent. It means it does not remain on that device. It dissolves.
Gotcha.
Agentless. Alright, here's where we're stopping, 9B. We're going to take lunch. We're going to come back and we're going to keep going. I was, funny thing is, I'm gonna let you guys go and you guys saw your 15. So I'm thinking last night, if we do 4 chapters a day, that means we're gonna be done Thursday. 16
Really?
chapters.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I've been doing 4 chapters a day.
Give me a whole day to
I'm
practice all
stressing that
questions.
I need to
then.
get through 4 chapters a day.
Okay, well.
So that's why, if you didn't notice, I moved a lot slower today because I was like, well, if I keep at that rate, then we're not gonna have anything to do Friday. And I know you guys aren't trying to test on Friday, so I've slowed down a little bit, but we're still gonna be. I can only slow down so much. We're gonna be done early Friday.
Okay.
Because I'm already so ahead. I'm already in chapter 9. We're gonna be on chapter 12 today.
I'm
Probably.
planning to come on Friday and practice all 700 questions, and if I get all of them, go right over there and test. It just depends on how well I do.
Right. Well, fortunately for you, you have a choice. Fortunately for a lot of the guys, when I go to the base, they don't have a choice. They have to test.
Yeah.
So that's why they're forced to go home. I force them to do their homework. And Friday comes, they have no choice.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they all pass, man.
Yeah, that's all
I
I'm
had
gonna do is test
21 people last was my biggest class. All 21 passed.
Awesome. And we're open on Saturday, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
Saturday
coming.
and Sunday.
Y'all be open Sunday. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Saturday too. Oh.
So the main thing today is that we get through all the Sims.
Okay.
The main thing today is we get through the Sims. Today's Wednesday, and then we're going to look at Sims again on Thursday. We looked at 2 yesterday.
Okay.
So we'll look at the same 2 today, and we're going to add a couple more today. We'll add a couple, and then after we add the rest of them today, Thursday, we'll go over all the Sims one more time.
Gotcha.
Friday, if nobody's testing, even if you want to come in and maybe test in the afternoon, we're going to go over all the Sims again on Friday.
Okay.
But after that,
You get to
you're
take
all
the
on your
test.
own.
I got you. Oh yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm be ready.
But I gave you guys what you need. So
Yeah, you've given us a lot.
Don't worry.
I got one quick question
What's
on
up?
the slides here.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be giving those out, I guess, on Friday because we're just talking and we didn't see them on our PowerPoint.
Get what out?
The slides here.
I said Monday that I couldn't.
Oh, that's
the first
right.
thing I
You could.
said.
That's right. See, I asked that question, and we didn't used to. I didn't think
It
so.
says Count Tio there.
Yeah. Because you was updating the slides. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for. Okay, gotcha.
So-
That's for him to teach. That's his teaching
That's my
slides.
teaching stuff.
Gotcha.
And-
Okay, no
and
problem.
I mentioned on Monday,
It was
it's
still
like, there's no
fast.
point in me giving the slides out because
Right.
they're talking points.
Right. You did say that.
And
Now
with
you
these
rewind
talking
this.
points, I don't know how it's going to help you.
No, the
Study.
acronyms we got to know.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's all acronyms. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I just
Remember
go back to the
acronyms.
book and I just like, whatever, just go from there.
This stuff here,
Acronyms.
everything we've talked about is in the notes I've given you guys.
Yeah, you have.
They're just not in the same order.
No.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm putting them in order.
But
That's
you
good.
putting them in order.
Oh, have to. My mind has to think that way.
I'm gonna put it in order for the book.
Yeah.
But I need time to do that. It's gonna
Yeah.
take me. I probably need
Yes, I
about
know,
a
I
week
know.
to sit there and copy and cut and paste and put things in order to 701 book. But so far, everything that's in 601 is in 701. All they've done is they've reorganized the book. They've shuffled things around to say, hey, here's a new certification.
That's how they do us every 3 years, man. Welcome to the game.
We're selling enough books, we sell more books.
Wait till you get your
This
seats.
book's 150.
At least.
All right, I'll see you guys back. What, 115?
15-ish.
I think I'm gonna go to the gym today.
Y'all probably lifetime people. I go to LA Fitness. Y'all go to
LA.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, Lifetime's $100.
Well, it's right here.
$50.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's nice though.
It's a club.
Yeah.
People go in there as a club. You drive your fancy car, and you go in there with your fancy clothes. And
Is it
nobody's
really
there to
150?
work out.
Oh,
Yes, it
mine's
really
only
is.
50.
That's
Wow.
It really
not
is.
no regular.
Wow.
And it's only that.
That's for your whole family though, right?
No, that's for
That's just
you.
one person.
For one person.
Jesus Christ.
For 1 month.